Another day into the week. Counting them down. Weekend's just around the corner. Hopefully everybody's having a good week. Hopefully audio's coming through nice and clear. I'm checking on that right now. Yeah, according to my side of things, everything's coming through clear. So good to see everyone here. And if you tune in later, because a lot of people watch it later, happy whatever time it is. Insert time here. All right, guys. One task for today. I'll try and make it a little quick because I've generally been going too long. So I'm going to try and make it a shorter show. We'll see. Most of the times I say that and I don't accomplish it. I want to start off with some awesome video that's kind of streaming to us live here at Fox, which is a live look at the, oops, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Live look at the, well, I just went to it. Live look at the wildfires out there. This is the wildfires going on in Southern California right now, which really kind of blew up over the last 2 days. If you know California geography and you know California weather at all, they have a feature called the Santa Ana winds, which are these very strong, very dry winds that come roaring down out of the mountains this time of year. Not too uncommon to see the Santa Ana effect. And that obviously everybody knows wind is not good for fire. And with all the wind that's come down to the mountains, the fires have really been able to blow up over the past couple days. So I've just kind of been watching this feed loop through over the past couple of minutes that they've just started streaming it to us here in Fox, and just absolutely incredible images coming out. Of course, you know, thoughts and prayers for everybody out there that's being affected by the wildfires. I know they already had one person unfortunately lose their lives because of they were trying to flee the wildfire. And they got caught up in it, I believe, or I believe they swerved off the road and got into a car accident while they were fleeing from the fire. So very unfortunate situation out there. Again, hopefully, you know, everything goes all right with the crews and that they're able to get this fire under control. All we can kind of do is hope for the best and hope they get some relief in there weather-wise, which is rather unfortunate because I don't see any strong relief coming their way anytime soon. Let's start with that. In fact, a kind of live satellite view here of what's going on across the country, and the area where the wildfires are. This is a water vapor image. The area where the wildfire is down there, and you see that pocket of just dry air. When you have high pressure like this move in, I used to have to, back at my old job, my sector of the country was the western half of the country was what I was in charge of forecasting for. And you got a big, strong high that's going to be bringing us an epic amount of cold around here. But when you get these big, strong highs that drop into the northern Rockies, air flows clockwise around areas of high pressure. So you get you get all this air that comes down against the front edge of the mountains here. Eventually, it piles over the Santa Ana, and down it goes. Weather-wise, the science behind it is think of like anything compressed, like a soda can or a can of compressed air. When you force air down the mountain slope, it compresses. It's forced to warm, and also it tends to come down with a good deal of speed. And the Santa Ana winds out there are well known for doing damage, and unfortunately, they're known for being fire spreaders. They're not fire starters, but if there's a small sort of fire going on, it's a sort of brush fire. You know, they get lightning strikes out there, dry lightning. That can ignite fires this time of year, and if it is unfortunately timed with winds, I don't know how that one in the video started. And again, just incredible images there of the wildfires. You can see some parts of the hillside there on fire. That may be a home. I don't want to say for sure. Again, as I'm kind of just seeing this live as it's coming in. But again, the Santa Ana winds are unfortunately timed with this fire going on out there. And no Mother Nature relief in sight. Again, we got a big ridge kind of across the western half of the country there, and that ridge is just blocking any sort of moisture from coming in. And it looks like that ridge is going to hold pretty steady here over at least the next week. Elsewhere, bringing it kind of back home now. Let me try and get my controls out of the way here. Big area of low pressure. I thought it's got a high on there, but it's actually low pressure sitting up. I don't know why the computer's doing it. That's on their side, not our side. But there's an area of low pressure up there. Strong cold front right there. You see it kind of outlined. That's going to bring us a little bit of rain later on this afternoon. We'll time that out for you. And then behind it, Again, this area of high pressure is kind of diving down towards Texas, and clockwise flow on the north side of it means cold air coming down south and east, and that's heading right for us as we work our way kind of through the next 36 hours here. Temperature's really going to free fall, particularly tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning's probably not awful. In fact, it's probably a warmer than normal start tomorrow morning, and then temperatures kind of collapse the second half of the day. All right, so that's what's going on across the country right now. Let's time out the rain in case you have plans later on this evening. Here we are at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock is when this particular model says, hey, light shower potential kind of increasing here in the D.C. region. You see steadier showers out to the west of the I-95 corridor. It really kind of moves in 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight. A steady light rain, certainly the potential as we work our way into the evening hours. Should wind down during the overnight hours. Excuse me. This is 2 a.m. You can see the back edge of it starting to come through the D.C. region. A lot of times these things end a little quicker. The one question is, can we get it bubble up a little area of low pressure along this front tonight that might ride the front up from the north that may help the rain continue for a little longer. No snow threat tonight. The cold air is not coming in. At one time we were thinking, hey, if the cold air comes in fast enough behind it, we could end up getting some snow on the backside, just a change over to flakes. But as I'll switch the temperatures, and you can see temperatures are just going to be a little bit too warm there at the end. Your freezing line for where any snow would be possible would be out to the west of that black line there, and at that point the rain is off to the east of that black line. So you got rain over there, and it's dry, dry over there. So you're not going to get any snow on the backside of this, with the exception being the lakes. If you happen to be heading to Erie, Pennsylvania, you'll see some snowfall this week, no doubt about it. Bigger picture stuff. This new model's been coming in as we speak. We've been watching this thing on Friday. Well, that's interesting that this new run of the GFS wants to try and squeeze out. If you see the blue right there in DC, this new run of the GFS, which much like yesterday when I did this, was coming in live. This new run is coming in live as we speak. I'll zoom in. Interesting that the GFS wants to do that, and now it's trying to spit a little bit of snow. I don't buy it, sorry. If I'm looking at my features here, the 540 line, which is the thickness generally that we look at to get some snow into the region, is off to the north and west there. So I think that's just a model blip in the computer system, to be honest with you. I'd expect to keep it all rain here as we work even into the overnight hours. That's early tomorrow morning, by the way, and then it's gone. It's out of here. We may do some clearing, but honestly, the front tomorrow afternoon is kind of hanging right in this region, and since it's hanging there, it's going to throw a little bit of cloudiness back our way. So tomorrow looks like it's more clouds than sunshine, in my opinion. We'll see. Some models can be a little finicky with that. Maybe we get a little lucky. But back to the big picture. Let me switch regions back again. We'll head to the east. We'll go back to there we go. East Coast and talk about Friday, because Friday's, of course, kind of opportunity number one. And still, much like we were talking about yesterday, much like I've been hinting at since last week, it's a near miss. Things just aren't coming together. The storm is right there, but it's disorganized. It's weak. You see all the moisture stretched out both to the south and to the north, very expanded. So again, it's just not coming together in an organized kind of ball of energy, one focused storm. It's kind of more of a stretched out area of low pressure along the front, and because of that, it doesn't have as much kick to it. Now, earlier runs were showing, and the European got awfully close as well. I'll switch back. Here's the morning run that I woke up to. It's getting awfully close with some of this light snowfall activity. Wouldn't be enough to put anything down in terms of measurement, but could it be enough to get a few flakes in there? Sure. And if you're traveling this weekend, just know this is more Friday night into early morning hours of Saturday. The best chances for seeing any snow at all are like the I-95 corridor off to the north of us. And by that, I mean, flakes. I'll even show you the snowfall map here. Let's see if we do 24-hour snowfall. Again, it's not putting down a whole bunch. You see some purples in there, which are like 4 inches. I don't agree with that. Just straight up, I don't agree with it because of upper air temperatures and ground surface temperatures would cut down on any totals. There could be a pocket that gets a slushy inch, but I don't like it unless something drastically changes here in the next few days. As things sit right now, I think the potential is much more for a conversational, Tucker calls them conversational snow showers. It could be a conversational weak snow event along the eastern seaboard. But as of this moment, I don't see any major concern for major snow falling anywhere on Friday. Again, if things change, I'll let you know. But I guess for what it's worth, the NAM is a little more aggressive if you know weather at all. And this is as far as this model goes, by the way. NAM, North American Mesoscale Model, meaning it generally does better with smaller scale events versus the bigger scale stuff like a snow event. It is aggressive down there. I mean, it's got heavy snow in Atlanta. You think that's going to happen? I don't. I don't like this model until about 24 hours out. Then it starts to get the big picture things. But for what it's worth, it's showing a little more of a healthy snow event. Again, I don't buy. So I'm going to put the big circle, and I'm going to buy that. So don't like it yet. Be careful with little weather forecasters out there with the North American model. Remember, it doesn't do big storms as well as the other ones because of how many pieces. This is designed to be a thunderstorm model more than it is a snowstorm model. You got to go with your globals, you got to go with your American and your European, and neither one of those really like it. Here's why. Same. Let's see. I'm sorry. Something about the Supreme Court. I'm listening to the Fox feed just to make sure I'm not missing any breaking news. We're going to Washington, D.C., Supreme Court building, and some protesters are protesting something. That's all I need. I leave that news stuff to Molly. I can do weather. I can't do news. But if you're wondering what they were just talking about over the feed there, that is this picture that they're now taking from downtown. Again, Supreme. I don't see many protesters. Maybe that little group over to the left. But whatever's going on there, or maybe, yeah, there's probably a tour group coming out of the building, I would think. But anyway, we will let Molly handle that. There's something going on downtown. It wasn't breaking in terms of any sort of police activity or anything. It looks like they're getting ready for a press conference there. All right, moving back to weather. We did this upper level stuff yesterday. Here's the biggest problem is, number one, that this is hour 84 now is kind of when the GFS was showing the storm. Problem is, if you remember our upper level talk from yesterday, your trough is positively tilted. A positively tilted trough, meaning upper level stuff, they will kick storms. That's an arrow out to sea. They will kick storms out as opposed to suck them in. You want a trough that looks like this, because a negatively tilted trough will turn a storm inland, whereas a positively tilted trough, which is what we have here, it's clearly positively tilted. Look how and what I mean by that is look at the black lines here, how they kind of come down. I'll trace that 588. See how they come down and go up like that, and then see how this one down here comes down and goes out like that. So if I was to draw a line connecting the two peaks of the upside down mountains, if that makes sense, if I was to draw a line connecting those two, which way would that line be facing? And it's facing like this. Let me clear that. I'll clear that off. It's facing like this. It's kind of southwest to northeast. That's a positively tilted trough. And what's a positively tilted trough? Well, I'll draw it kind of. Let me draw it like what's on the screen? Right over on the extreme right-hand side of your screen. Remember back when you were graphing things in grade school and you had to graph something that looked like this, and this was +1, this was -1, +1, -1. If you're graphing something in the positive sector, the chart looks like this. And if you're graphing something in the negative sector, the trough looks like this. So that's why we call them for the negative. Positively tilted troughs, again, they push. So that's going to push the storm out. Negatively tilted is what we would want to get that storm coming up. And that does not look like it's going to happen, certainly not on Friday. Plus, the energy is not focused. See this whole string of red? This is atmospheric energy. It's stretched. It's elongated like a rubber band stretched out. You're not going to get a big storm with the energy all stretched like that. You need it to be more focused. And let's say this trough was at least neutral, which it's not, but let's say it was. You'd want to see that energy focused somewhere between there and there, somewhere in that sector. You'd want all this energy to be kind of balled up out in front of the trough, because that's what's going to form the storm and suck it in. All right, so that's the American side of thing. Brand new one just coming in. European at the, let me make sure I'm doing the same time here. Let's get the American out to, say, Saturday morning, which is when, yeah, because a little bit before that. So let's go back to like 3Z Saturday, which is when, if it was going to snow, it would be a time it would snow, which is 10 o'clock on Friday night. See the differences between the two models? So that's the GFS, European GFS. GFS certainly stronger with the energy on the front side, so that's why it's showing a little bit more healthy precip than the European, which I'll show you in a sec. You see the Euro's a little bit weaker, and again, upper level features are different. Look at the GFS, how it's very focused with its upper level low up there. Look at the European, it's not nearly as focused. There's no cut. So just to kind of put it simply, see how this 504 line, that's kind of your polar vortex low, ish up there on the Hudson Bay. See how it's not cut, it's not focused, it's not a cutoff upper level low. Instead, it's just kind of a kink in the system off to the north there. It's weaker generally with the upper level feature than the GFS is. And without agreement, I'm going to go with the Euro every time of the GFS just because it's the better model. All right, speaking of the Euro, this is what the Euro had for Friday morning. Not showing, it's still mixing with some snow off to the east, rain and snow mix. But you can kind of guess just from that picture there that, my thing doesn't want to work on this page, but you can kind of guess just based off the picture there that if you're mixing rain and snow at all, you're not going to pile anything up big time. And oh, there it is, finally kind of kicked back in. Off to the east would have the best chance, but even if, say, a few flakes were able to squeak into Washington and Baltimore, it's not a concerned snow. Not yet. Unless something drastically changes and this guy gets energy and starts coming inland, it's not a big snow. I did put this together just as a maybe kind of map that we may or may not show tomorrow. I put it together after I got off air today. First flakes possible. I'll give it to, Richmond, DC, Philly, New York, Providence, and Boston. Sure, all have the chance of seeing some snow falling. Accumulating snow? Probably not. Best chances would be New York, Providence, Boston of anything accumulating. Philly has a 50-50 shot at snowflakes, and I'd put DC and Richmond's odd at seeing snowflakes flying at this point at 30% chance of snowflakes. A little higher as you head east. Salisbury, yeah, maybe a little higher, 60% maybe for you. But again, for accumulating snows, don't like it. Don't like it yet. We'll get there, people. Be patient. Don't rush winter. It's not even officially winter yet if you're a snow lover like I am. I know I'm impatient too. We didn't get much of it. There's the Supreme Court again. I beat that shot up by accident. All right, let's go back and we'll there's the wildfires. And there's my maps. Here is the mention of polar, because I wanted to keep this weather thing nice and short and sweet. Don't forget polar vortex is coming back next week, so we've been teasing it getting cold this week, but out beyond our forecast period, which we only do 7 days here at Fox. And again, in the extended range, we can pretty much we can get temperatures 5 to 10 days, within that about 6 to 10 day time frame. We can generally get temperatures pretty good, whether or not it's going to be really cold or really warm. The precip thing is much harder to do in the extended range. It's the temperatures that we have a halfway decent understanding. And with the polar vortex coming down across southeastern Canada, even lower than it is before. Again, the GFS was trying to do it, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, at least not with this strength. With it trying to get into the Canadian-New York border, that's going to throw a lot of cold air down our way. So this is kind of what we're looking forward to next week, just to give you a little heads up of how cold it could get. This is even beyond a week from today. But just to give you an idea of the types of temperatures a polar vortex can bring in December, how about we maybe waking up to some teens in the city, in downtown DC. 17, 18 degrees is what the European is saying is possible next Thursday morning. And maybe single digits. It's going even sub-zeros. There's probably some snowpack there in the mountaintops, which is why it's doing some sub-zeros. But I think the threat for single digits out west of I-81 and the threat for teens around I-95 is certainly in the cards for at least a day heading into next week. And then your highs that day would likely be chilly as well. In fact, we can check and see what the model's doing. Those were overnight lows. I'll flash forward a little bit to Tuesday, Wednesday, and then this would be Thursday, which would be our coldest day. It's got highs for a lot of the suburbs in the 20s, and it's only got our highs getting to 31 degrees, which would be our first day below freezing all the way through this year so far, which I believe would eclipse last year when I don't think we get it until maybe January. We might have squeezed a day in there in December because we did have one visit from the polar vortex in December, mid-December last year, and then it went away completely, and the rest of the winter was warm. We'll see about all that. Another thing, and again, I'm mentioning this in passing because it's one of those things where times to watch for maybe the next little system that could bug us. If you're following the lines here, in fact, let me make it a little easier to see. This is getting out to next week, and it's getting far ahead of our time. Still, one thing I want to mention as I continue to jump all over the place here is that I'm still watching, or rather interested in this little system that could come across. Remember, we mentioned the Clipper. Still interested in, let me go to the latest model, in this little guy coming across the north here, maybe, and it's not doing it so much in the afternoon run, but it did do it this morning. Maybe getting some snow showers flying during the morning hours of Sunday. Sometime between Saturday night and Sunday morning with some snow showers possible with that little Clipper coming somewhere between southern Canada and West Virginia. Where exactly that tracks, good luck, I don't even know yet because models tend to jump around a lot with it. Moving forward beyond that time frame, this would be the next chance to watch. Talking with some other meteorologists yesterday, they mentioned to me that don't forget to watch yourself when the polar vortex comes down. And if you're looking at this screen, here comes the polar vortex right here. So you have, there's a lot of lines on this page, but look for the purple. That purple circle up there, that dashed purple circle, that's generally your polar vortex. And polar vortexes are spinning in the upper levels of the atmosphere counterclockwise. That's energy. And if you're putting energy into the atmosphere, you could kick up a storm out ahead of it if everything goes right. And you'll see, this is the European model, it's trying to spin something up right there out ahead of the polar vortex. Sure, not that I don't buy it, not that I do buy it. It's one of those things where it's 198 hours out from the forecast period. So I'm not even going to pretend to guess like I know what's going to happen at that time. I will say that it's interesting. It's an interesting time to watch. And if we look at the upper level energy kind of with it, as we head into that next time frame. There is a piece that comes down. There's your polar vortex rotating down. Here comes your energy twirling around it. Daggone it, it keeps jumping around, sorry. But then your same kind of, right there. This is what you do want to see if you want a storm. So this is just an example of what. Remember that I was talking about the trough. There it is negatively tilted. And you got a piece of energy out in front, and it's balled up. You know, I remember you want a ball of energy, and you want it to be in front of the trough. So if you get a storm, you're going to form it, and you're going to pull it in. Then it's all about how far south can we get this guy. You want a big snowstorm here in D.C.? Let that trough stay negatively tilted like that, and give me that energy down here in South Carolina so that we pop the storm south and it heads up the coastline. Then we're cooking with gas. Just from experience with these polar vortexes, think 2013, 2014, which was a lot of snow events here in D.C., but they were smaller scale events, but they had massive blizzards up here in the Boston area. So a lot of times they actually do, if they happen, they do tend to start to form in the mid-Atlantic. We get a little bit of snow here, but then the big jackpot phases for events like this come off to the north. We'll see. You see how much Friday's changed just over the past 5 days. This is something that's middle of next week time frame concern. That would be like a Tuesday, Wednesday situation, sometime between Monday and Wednesday, to be honest with you. So I have time to work out that, I'm focused on Friday first as we head into the end of this week because I'm off on Monday. So I got a half day on Friday. So Thursday is the last time I'll talk to you until Tuesday afternoon, which this would be on our doorstep. So we'll check back in with this guy on Thursday. We'll see how it looks. But that would kind of be the next time frame to watch for maybe something. It'd be early to middle of next week. All right, moving on to the next 5 stories. I got like 1 minute to do it. And then tomorrow, Wisdom and I are going to go at it again, and then Thursday we'll wrap with the stories. 5 little stories that caught my eye this week. Switching gears from weather to fun. So we ran the story on Fox 5. I saw it on the news when, obviously, since I work on the news in the morning, caught this during the early morning that this guy met with an 81-year-old woman. He actually flew down, I believe, to Florida. And they had befriended themselves on Words with Friends, and I think this is funny because my grandma plays Words with Friends. She loves it. My mother plays Words with Friends. So this guy actually went, and I don't know if it was spur of the moment or if she invited him or what the details there are, but he flew over 1,000 miles right there at the bottom of your page there, and this is on our site, Fox 5 DC, to meet this lady. That reminded me of the story of the guy who on Thanksgiving got that random text from someone that wasn't his grandmother. So he texted her back and was like, "Am I still invited?" He was like, "You know, you got it wrong. I'm not your grandson, but am I still invited?" And he was. She was like, "Yeah, sure, come on by." And she fed him a Thanksgiving meal. Well, I saw recently in the Post that I'll take this down. Recently in the Washington Post that they did an update this year, and the guy actually went back. So there were the 2 Thanksgivings that he went. So I believe in Arizona, the guy, and they have the record of the text messages there, and this is on the Washington Post website, of the original when the grandma accidentally texted him, and he was like, "Oh, you're not my grandma, sorry," but she invited him anyway. And then this year he took his girlfriend. You know, it was more formal this year. The same woman invited him back. So I thought that was nice. You know, uplifting news. In a world where sometimes news can be a little dark, it's nice to see the light. Speaking of light news, again, story number 2 that caught my eye. We ran it on Fox 5 DC on the news. I didn't see us posted on our website, but they got it on NESN, and this is hilarious. The Browns are an awful team. Wisdom Martin tells you that every time we do the picks, and someone filed. This is something that Tucker Barnes would. This is something that Tucker Barnes would absolutely do. He filed to get a permit to do the parade, even though they've had a winless season. So it's a parade for draft picks there in Cleveland. If they're able to go winless, they put another loss on this past week. We'll see if they go lossless. I think they win. Call me crazy, but Green Bay is coming to town. Green Bay is not the strongest team in the world. Not the weakest, but they're not the strongest team in the world. And Green Bay doesn't have the strongest defense. Josh Gordon's first time at home. Wouldn't shock me if they pull out an upset win this week and beat Green Bay. Maybe I'm just being hopeful because I have Josh Gordon on my fantasy team. We'll see. Wisdom and I will chat about that potential tomorrow. Another story that caught my eye, I caught this one earlier today on Reddit from Tucson.com. And I have learned this over the 3 years I've been in the media business. Don't mess with the internet. Don't. Otherwise, the trolls come out in full force. So I guess John McCain tweeted out not too long ago, "Hey, we're only 74 Twitter followers away from 3 million. Spread the word and help us get there." Well, the internet being the internet, the hashtag unfollow McCain started spreading, and he lost about 3,000 or 4,000 followers, I think, as of last count. He was at 2.99 million. He's now at 2.97 million. So he's far away from just 74 Twitter followers to 3 million now. So just, always funny to see. Word of caution, don't mess with the trolls on the internet, or rather the internet is a place for trolls, so be careful what you tweet. A story that we ran here on Fox 5, again, I didn't see it on our website, but the Independent's got it, that, my good graces award today goes to Aldi, where I got one in my neighborhood, so I'll actually be shopping there through Christmas as much as I can, just to support them, because I think this is awesome that they're going to give away all their unsold fresh food to the less fortunate individuals there on Christmas Eve. That's awesome. I don't understand why we don't do that more, honestly. And I think some grocery stores do, especially those local mom and pop places. But I don't understand why, if you have fresh food that's about to go bad and you're going to throw it away, why not donate it to the shelters as much as you can? My guess is that this is probably, they'll keep it in the grocery stores until it's about to go bad, and then they'll throw it out. This is probably like brand new food, anything they don't sell that day, they might give away instead of letting it sit in the store overnight for the next day. Good on Aldi anyway for that. You get my good job award for the day today. Last story, we ran it on Fox 5 yesterday. Awesome song. Let's see if it reloads here. It's connecting, so I had a little internet hiccup. There we go. DMX, getting you in the Christmas spirit, releasing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the DMX version of the song. Let's see if Spotify has a little snippet here. We can try and squeeze it in a little bit if the page loads for me. And it's hilarious. I mean, it just honestly, I grew up a little bit on DMX, not so much. I know a few of his songs. I wasn't listening to DMX every day. My parents honestly wouldn't allow that. But let's see. Spotify and play it. It's on Spotify. So yeah, that's it. Light news this week. Those were 5 stories that caught my eye over the past few days as I've been exploring the interwebs there to try and find something to talk about other than weather, because I know weather can get a little boring if I'm talking about it every single day. All right, that's it for me. Easy update. Today is 11:35, so only 5 minutes over. That's not bad by my standards. Tomorrow, Wisdom and I will update. He crushed me this week, FYI. We'll update on our standings for football. We'll do our picks for the upcoming week. Thursday, we'll talk about the weekend forecast, because again, I got a half day on Friday, so I'm not here in the afternoon. And then Monday, I am off because I'm going to the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens game up in Pittsburgh on Sunday night. So I had to take the day off work on Monday, because there's no way I'm going to make it in at 3 in the morning on Monday morning after an 8:30 Sunday night football game. I'm hoping to see some snow up in Pittsburgh this weekend. I will certainly tweet out anything I see. Any questions about potential storminess, any questions about anything weather related, or you just want to say hi, you find me on Twitter, Mike T Fox 5, or Mike Thomas Fox 5 on Facebook. I'm always happy to answer any questions you might have at all. All right, guys, that's all I have. I'm going to sign off for now. I will see you tomorrow. Take care.
All right, guys, we're back for the news segment of Fox 5 Live here inside Fox 5's digital studio. Thanks so much for watching. Who is on with me today? Let us know in the chat box, as always. And I hope that you liked my segue with a little Christmas music. Royce, did you appreciate that?
I thought it was amazing and beautiful, bringing in a little Christmas cheer.
What we call mega tracks. It's sort of the place where we get some of our music and a little bit of Christmas cheer, some jingle bells. We're going to have some new stuff for you. Pretty much the rest of the days until the 25th. So we're counting down. What is it? It's already the 5th. We got 20 days till Christmas. Not that we're making this about that, but it's a nice time. And,
it is.
And only, I guess, what is it, 15 days now? 16 rather, till the first day of winter officially. And the darkest day of the year, the shortest day.
And it's getting colder. Granted, today was okay.
Today is an interestingly mild day. I know Caitlin was doing weather this morning, and it's weirdly kind of cloudy, and it's going to be not as cold, but then I think going into the rest of the week, as you guys probably just heard, if you were on with us, Mike Thomas broke down the weather. It's going to get a little colder. But actually, guys, I'm segueing that right into this. Right now, there are really, really extreme wildfires going on in Ventura County, California, and actually we've had cameras there all morning. Check out this. This is in Ventura County, California. This is just kind of raw footage of what it looks like there with some of the smoke. And we've shown you some of this before in various areas when we have this happen, but this is the timing. I know the weather section can kind of talk a little more about this and why this happens and when, but I can see there's the smoke sort of radiating off these houses in Ventura County.
So
and then simultaneously we have a live look over, and this is more of like a reporter camera in Silmar, California.
Okay.
It's a specific town
that
they're in. You can see there's cameras set up. I think they're even giving a little press conference.
Probably getting ready
there's
to
a
get
little
a
sound on it.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. I'm not quite sure they're...
A little hazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure we have it in clearly, but you can see they're talking about it and talking with the efforts to really put that out, but it's been going on all morning. And
it just kicked off this morning.
Yeah, I started seeing the streams when I came into work today, and I was like, okay, this is where we're going to have some cameras. But as always, guys, you know, we like to take whatever is live and breaking and then talk about some of the top trends of the day. And we'll start off with a little bit of cool social news and social media, but for a second. But quickly, while we still have it, I want to jump over to the Supreme Court. We've had a camera outside of the Supreme Court right here in D.C. for the morning, as the big news of the night, and this sort of happened last night, is that yesterday the Supreme Court ruled that Trump's travel ban can take full effect, and the ban is on people from 6 Muslim-majority countries. So while that's going on, also in the news is the gay couple who requested that a cake be baked for their wedding in 2012. This all kicked off a while ago, and the cake maker, the guy who owned the business, who cited his Christian faith, did not want to do that, and so there became a controversy and there became a case for discrimination, and so the Supreme Court will hear that and likely rule on that down, I think, into next year, into June. So with these sort of cases, big cases being in news and things pending, there are reporter cameras outside the Supreme Court and some people are talking. So we're going to take that briefly and then come back in and talk a little more stuff of the day. We have some exciting stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we do. I'm so excited. It's so magical.
Yeah, and I love bringing Raisa on. She's social media, and so we kind of work in tandem a lot to bring you guys viral videos and trending topics and trending accounts and
anything that's happening on social media, anything popping, anything going ablaze, you know, just any social talker. And we have a few interesting ones today, so I'm so excited to chat about them.
Glad that we have you guys' attention. Of course, for very political and serious things, and then more fun things as well. We try to run the gamut here on Fox 5 Live. So if you have not joined us already, please do subscribe to our channel and be part of our channel, so you can see when we come up each day, and you can kind of pop in and out as needed for your daily live news. So let's check out what is going on right now outside the Supreme Court.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything. Well, we wanted to take this opportunity just in case there are still people at home who don't really know our story, what happened. You know, 5.5 years ago, Charlie and I were getting married. Like any married couple, we were excited, and we had a million details to finalize. And this particular day was a really special one because Charlie's mom was in town, and she was there to help us pick a cake. And this was her one opportunity to help be involved in the wedding planning. So our reception planner suggested to us that we use Masterpiece Cake Shop because she had used them in the past. We looked online and thought their cakes looked good. So we made an appointment and we went in. We had a binder full of ideas and concepts, but we never even got a chance to open that binder. As soon as we sat down with the owner, he asked who the cake was for. We told him it was for us, and immediately he informed us he would not make a cake for a same-sex wedding. And what followed was just a horrible, pregnant pause as what was happening really sunk in, and we were mortified and humiliated. And as quickly as we could, we gathered ourselves and we left. And you know, when we got to the parking lot, it's embarrassing to admit, but I cried. Charlie cried. We were hurt and felt rejected, and we felt like second-class citizens in our society. And we want people to know that this story isn't an abstract. This is about real pain felt by real people, and things that are suffered every day by LGBT people across this country.
I see you wiping away tears there. What did you think of the art?
Well, I just know that this journey has been long. Let me just share that. I witnessed the rejection that my son and his fiancé felt, and as a parent, it was heartbreaking to know that I could not protect my child at that moment in the pain of rejection. So to stand today with them in the Supreme Court and knowing that all the lobbies flowed across the United States and world for civil rights, it was very exciting. So I felt good. I think I'm just moved by the love and support that the community has provided. I'm thankful for this. And I don't want any other parent to ever go through what I did. And I don't want their children to ever face that rejection of being made to feel that they just belong.
Anybody else?
David, for those that have posted where Charlie's doing the last 5 years,
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, for the folks back in Colorado who've been with you for the last 5 years, following his paper, going to rallies in front of the cake shop, what would you want to say to them today?
I would want to tell those people thank you for your support. Your support has been so important to us, not just to keep us going, but to help us understand how important what it is following this through meant. You know, what happened to us was painful, but we also learned how many different ways it affects people and how many different stages of life, and thank you for keeping us going.
I have somebody here. Whose microphone do I have?
All right, guys, so as this video sort of winds down, I want to apologize for the sound on that because unfortunately the mics are sort of clumped together such that we're getting a lot of gnat sound from outside. But again, this case revolves around the denial of a service by this baker to serve or to create this wedding cake for a gay same-sex couple in Colorado. Now, Colorado as a state sided with the couple whom you just heard from speak there at the podium about it. And I think I actually wasn't quite sure who that other woman was talking about it, but Rice, you were
it was his mother.
It was his mother.
It was his mother. She said, saw my son go through this rejection, and then it got like a little staticky. Couldn't hear the rest of what she was saying.
Yeah, apparently we were just kind of briefly talking about this, and I've read a little bit into it. It is going to be a difficult case, according to Supreme Court experts, to predict what will happen. It's going to come down, likely, they're saying, to Justice Kennedy in this, whose opinion can go kind of in various different ways.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, it'll be interesting to see because you wonder how this will come down. It's between this man's faith and his private business, but then also is this discrimination against a lifestyle,
exactly.
this gay couple
lifestyle choice,
marrying,
absolutely,
and asking just it's a really there's a lot of important players in this one. I think it's a really interesting one.
And you can only get a feel for a small fraction of the incident because the three of them were the only ones there, so we can't, pinpoint how one felt or any pain that perhaps, was caused from this incident. So, it's sometimes just easier said than done because when you question, like, okay, is this right or is this wrong? It's so hard. So it's definitely going to be an interesting case to look at. And I think we did a little research, and there's no money involved. I think
I didn't actually read if this is more of a making a statement and getting justice versus money, but I do want to tease out that our reporter Veronica Cleary is going to be on this story, so she'll have more details. And snag her, I can maybe talk to her a little more as she researches this case and does a little more digging into sort of the legal aspects behind it. I know, like I mentioned, Colorado has this state law that prohibits discrimination of this type on the basis of sexual orientation. So Colorado courts sided with the couple and said that Phillips, who is the cake baker, this owner, did violate state law with that. And so Colorado state courts agreed, and then Phillips actually fought this all the way to the Supreme Court, but now it is going to become a Supreme Court case, and then it'll be ruled on, and we'll go from there.
And it should perhaps set the precedence for future cases, I would think. So, I mean, it's, I suppose, the first of its kind. I'm not mistaken.
It's definitely when it comes to making this news, I think so.
Okay.
And I think I was reading that the oral arguments and things won't really be finalized until June of next year.
Okay.
So being on the lookout for that, it does. It really does. And I'm curious what you guys think if you have heard about this. I see some comments rolling in. I'm sorry, I just realized, I just saw your comment about the audio. Unfortunately, the audio was really, really bad on that. That was out of our hands, and unfortunately with the mics in front of the Supreme Court. But kind of good at least to get a little bit of their take and to hear from them.
I'd love to hear what the baker has to say also.
I would too. I want to hear all sides of it too, and I'm curious to see more of the legal reporting on this because, of course, we're not legal experts, but we try to sort of dig into the case a little bit.
Try to understand it.
Yeah, and it's fascinating.
And like you said, Veronica's going to be all over it, so she'll definitely have a lot of details.
Yes, we'll see if I can even grab her for a quick comment when she's working on that. Some of you guys saying there's plenty of bakers who would have baked their cake. Did they put him in jail? No. I didn't. I'm reading into it a little bit more now, but it's sort of, I think it's sort of, again, pending, like this is all, there we go, I have a guy in the camera now.
Yeah.
I'll take this one. It's sort of all pending, and I think it's sort of like in limbo for now. Yeah.
Essentially until, I suppose, June, correct?
Yeah, because they fought, like I said, they fought it. The Colorado courts went one way, and then it got brought to the higher level. So so we'll see what happens in June, and we'll be following this as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for hanging out on the stream today. So just wanted to bring you that first while we still have that camera, because it's still going on. And I think if there are other people that kind of jump up and there's something interesting to be said, we can take it again.
Oh, yeah.
But I think this is an interesting, like, interim moment to kind of get into some more social news. Let's see. All right. Yeah, let's jump around a little bit. Okay. So we'll come back in and pull away from that. If you guys have more questions on that topic, of course, please do let us know, and I'll see if we can get them answered. And of course, feel free to keep the conversation going and talk a little more about it, because it's worth talking about. And I think these topics are good for this platform, for digital, for social.
Absolutely.
Because they really are social cases. This is about humans and about relationships and orientation and people, really the heart of people. And so I think social media is really the perfect way to
Oh yeah, to get the word out and
communicate, get some comments in there, and you guys can do that right here on this platform, which is great. So anyway, pulling it down from that, from Supreme Court, let's talk about something a little bit fun that is today, which I think we need to talk about this.
I think we need to like really recognize this amazing man who has brought so much magic into our world.
Yep,
and literally, we're celebrating the beloved Walt Disney's birthday.
Did you guys know he was born on December 5th, 1901? He would have been 116 today.
Yes.
And really a notable figure. I was doing a little more research into this history of him. And I had, known over the years, sort of celebrating, again, people like us, loving artistry and loving the digital creation, a digital world, really, and creative world. This is sort of a perfect figure to celebrate. And
oh my gosh,
he was born today, that many years ago, which is amazing. And just his history and how everything kind of came to be is quite fascinating. So we put together, anyway, this is a kind of a cool little picture that we had on our social today to kind of celebrate him. But we put together a really special group of Instagrams and pictures and tweets that was put together. And I'm realizing now we probably should have notified him and asked him to jump on this stream today to actually see this, but he can go back to it.
He will definitely tune into it, I think.
A really interesting artist and creative from the DC area, local, is this curator of content. And I forgot his first name. You know, right? Like, did you talk to him? I forgot.
Put me on the spot there, Molly.
I know.
But we are familiar with his Instagram name. He is thoroughly followed by popular accounts here in DC, IGDC, A Creative DC, and we've definitely featured a story on him. And essentially, we want to thank him so much for bringing magic here in the district. And if you want to roll into a few pigs, we can totally like highlight on his stuff.
So essentially what he does, we're going to say what it is first and then show you, is takes these beautiful, this is actually a perfect way to kind of mix together our beautiful city of DC with Disney. He mixes, basically overlays a portion of some Disney film or Disney creation with a beautiful landscape or sort of, I guess, neighborhood shot of the district.
Of the district, popular key points that you would look at and be like, ah, yes, that is the Capitol or that is the White House.
So, for example, I don't want to take our faces over this a little bit, but this beautiful shot of the Botanic Gardens, I believe, which a lot of you wouldn't know what that is, but gorgeous, gorgeous lit up Botanic Gardens. And then there in the foreground is Ariel and Eric from Little Mermaid. And then, of course, he has a caption that usually goes with it.
Absolutely.
So it's really a cute way to really showcase our city, but also sort of converge it with the artistry of Disney. I told you guys we were going to switch topics so fast. And this is totally switching it. But I don't want to forget to mention this with Raisa, because I love that it was his birthday, and I'm telling you, I will read you some of the historical points that are just fascinating to me. But first, let's get through some of these so we can go through this board.
And a lot of his Instagrams generally have the best captions to flow with his beautiful pictures. I mean, look at this. It's Cinderella.
He'll take them from the movies, right? From the films that we all, we all know, we all grew up with. Ages old, timeless. Older people, younger people know these. So there's a beautiful Capitol with Cinderella's carriage.
There we go.
This was a cool one.
That's a National Cathedral. Yes, with Maleficent. And it's just so awing because I'm thinking about Sleeping Beauty and how it looked like when she entered into their castle, remember, when they were celebrating Aurora and her birthday. And essentially it almost looked like that was the background too, that she stood in the back with her staff and the painted the glass
the green
the glass in the back.
Oh, stained glass.
Yes, the stained glass, painted glass, the stained glass.
Right. Yeah. So it's good. And he takes the quote from that.
And he takes a quote from that, and he just does a beautiful way at mashing up the two, and makes it relevant too. Like it would be weird to see her elsewhere, but this right here, this is awesome.
So, okay, Pete, you were just commenting on the thumbnail that is. Actually, I should really make this bigger so you guys can even see it. The thumbnail that is his picture. You're right. It's him with.
Who is it? Not familiar with that princess. Yes,
but it's a new one.
Character from
you might know. You might know even better than us. But there's this handle, guys. So we definitely want to obviously showcase that the happiest swamp on earth, which is a cute another sort of double entendre, and then also talking about the swamp, which is DC, built on the swamp. But then so he goes through, and if we can just thumb through some of these. Oh yeah, so there's the National Zoo, which is really cool. Let's take this out here.
And
there's the gorgeous
Simba.
lion, and he threw the baby on there. Simba.
Yes.
So, another cool quote, of course, from Lion King.
And a little background behind his Instagram name. So, like Molly just mentioned, DC was built on a swamp, as was Disney in Florida.
Yes.
So the reason why,
right?
So like the reason why he went with the happiest swamp on Earth is the whole presidential election rolled around, and DC began to be referenced as a swamp in a negative way. He was like, wait, hold up. No, DC is a beautiful place where there is so much culture and history. He's like, it's a beautiful, happy place. He was like, I wanted to highlight on our city the fact that, yes, perhaps it may be a swamp, but it is the happiest swamp, because he is a true lover of DC, a perfect representation of I'm a DC citizen, and I'm so proud to be one.
I'm so glad you added that little tidbit, because I didn't know. I knew it had to do with DC being a swamp, and I didn't realize, and I assumed, because the happiest place on earth, right, is Disney, and that was always like a slogan. So it's like it's really triple meaning or whatever for his handle, which is also very ingenious. So amazing props to him
seriously.
for doing that. And, and we came across this account trying to find, I think, some beauty shots of DC, right? Or we saw.
Yes, there were some beauty shots. So generally every morning on our Instagram, if you guys follow us, we feature a morning post of our beautiful DC, you know, with like a, you know, motivational message, if not highlighting on its beauty. And so in our morning research, we came across one of his pictures, and we were completely in awe and just wow. Don't remember what the initial picture was that caught our attention, but from that point on, we were able to chat with him a little further, get a basic understanding for, you know, what motivated him to make this account, and exactly what I just said a few minutes ago, you know, him just wanting to highlight on the beauty of our lovely city is what propelled him to combine this love of Disney, which he has grown up with, in addition to this love for his city. So he launched off this account, and it has been doing amazing. If you guys are Disney lovers, please follow him. His posts are truly magical, and
we'll show you more.
They just take me back.
I know. We'll show you. We'll definitely show you more. I want to kind of piece it up. But definitely, I love that background. I love how we were able to find this account, because it throws you back to some of the oldies and the classics. It, like I said, it converges the beauty of DC with, oh yeah, remember that amazing movie, that amazing quotation that I can relate back to my life.
Yes.
And as my mom and like other people always say, those movies you can watch again and get so much more out of it as an adult.
Absolutely, you learn. You
guys
learn even more.
You can get so much more out of some of these meaningful quotations from, like, you know, various characters in The Lion King and stuff like that. And it's cool to kind of bring that all together. But it's really notable. I thought it was really cool to kind of look into this, that he would have been 116 today. And there's some great facts about him, but let's go back to this little board, because I love more of these pictures. And keep letting me know what you guys think too. I know we're kind of rattling off about all these things about Disney, but it's just he's a fun creative to remember. So let's go back to the next one.
The two
you guys can't forget this. There it is.
In Adams Morgan. Look at that. Those two.
Awesome. This is at like a nighttime restaurant. Adams Morgan being one of the prime neighborhoods in DC.
Like a super youthful, funky area.
Oops. This one.
What is that? That's Six Flags?
Roger Rabbit at I know I have to like see where this is.
In Disneyland.
Oh, okay. So this is a little bit. Okay. So we took it out of DC for this one, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
That's cute.
It's still a happy swamp.
Yeah. Right.
The Fox and the Hound.
Stopped in DC on the way back from North Carolina. So he does a little bit more of a personal angle as well. And he throws them in. That's such a cute baby.
Yes,
puppy.
That is. So sweet. Amazing.
I knew there had to be one with Ursula.
There has to be
she is
one.
in that sort of pool, the reflecting pool or whatever that's in front of the Capitol.
It's amazing.
And that's such a gorgeous one too. If you guys have not been to DC or whatever, that's a really nice one to visit when you're here.
Especially at night.
Yeah.
If you're looking for free things to do on DC and you're looking to save money, walk around the monuments. It's a perfect date night, even if you just want to explore the city and you're trying to save up. That's my recommendation. I'm always looking for like ways to save money, but still have a good time, and that's definitely like a good one.
The account, oh, it totally is. And like you guys were just saying, the account is totally really neat. It's pretty endless. He continues to create content a lot.
On the regular, absolutely.
On the regular, and I love that he puts it into the pieces of Oh, love this. This is the Kennedy Center, the columns, those gorgeous stones. Again, being, I guess, a resident of DC for a long time, we know, like, the area, but but just at one look, one might not even know what that is, but that's Sleeping Beauty dancing right, with her prince.
Sleeping Beauty dancing with her prince, yes.
And then he renamed it to what it is.
What a cool caption. Once upon a district dream.
Cute.
And then there we go again.
This back into the botanical garden?
I think so. Or it could be a neighborhood.
He tagged the Yards.
Oh, the Yards,
which is a neighborhood down in Southwest DC.
Okay.
Or Southeast, rather. And then a quote from Aurora, Sleeping Beauty. This was my favorite. All right, and we're going to say
Hands
this
down.
because I remember when he posted this, actually, guys, and we're not going to belabor this too much longer, but I love it because this was definitely my favorite one of childhood.
Peter Pan. You loved
100%.
it. Okay.
We got to talk about that. Something about it, it was, I know people who knew me as a kid, I mean, I don't know if anyone on does, but like it was the theme and just the sense around it and the location and just the graphical images and everything. For some reason, that was like my 4-year-old self's favorite, and so it always stayed in my mind as my favorite.
It was always on repeat.
Anybody else's favorite? This one is my thing.
I loved it. Oh my gosh, that's so hard. And mine's is probably because of my mom. So Sleeping Beauty was my go-to, and for various reasons. One, I loved the prince's story. 2, because my grandmother's name was Aurora, rest in peace. And then my mother would always call me Sleeping Beauty because I had a knack for sleeping in way much longer than I should have. So I think it was a combination of the 3 that just really like tied me into the movie. I hope so. So that one, I love that one. And like maybe more modern ones. Have you seen what is it? The Princess and the Frog, or is the Prince Frog? With Tiana. It's a newer one. It's a newer one. That one is amazing, just because it's a mashup of the classic, The Princess and the Frog, and the love story behind the two, where she basically kisses the frog and he becomes a prince. Well, essentially, he was a prince, bewitched and turned into a frog. So
it's a newer one. I should know the story. I don't know it as well.
Oh, but
that's right.
It's
it
amazing.
Has to do with turning into the prince.
Exactly.
I love it.
But this one's gorgeous. Such a gorgeous shot.
You can't even deny the quotations from Peter Pan are just beautiful and worth rereading, right? And rereading as a book too. So love that one. It's a gorgeous one. And that, of course, is the sunset with Washington Monument.
Beautiful.
So there it is. And then let's go to the next one. Right to cue these up. Frozen.
Frozen for sure. And I think this is at the national. What is it? Not the Portrait Gallery, the other one.
That is the National Gallery of Art. Yep,
National Gallery of
cool,
Art.
That's, again, it's something that I just from being there, because it's basically a standing, moving. What is it? Not an escalator. Whatever that is.
Yeah, the things that they have at the airport.
Yeah, moving to get you from basically east to west side or whatever of this National Gallery. It's been there forever, and it's known for looking as gorgeous as he describes it there, as stars shining, and people take tons of pictures there, and rotating videos and Snapchats.
It's pretty cool.
Things like that, because it's so stunning and it's so unique to DC. Pete saying Shrek and Schulte saying Snow White. I know we haven't seen those yet. I'm not sure which. So Risa made this little board for me, which is so nice, and I'm not sure which ones she included.
I don't think I saw Shrek. I'm sure Shrek is in his Instagram account, but it was like filtering through and just pulling most recent ones and slapping them in
and
there.
Granted, this one is a quotation from a Coldplay song, so not exactly from the movie per se, but unless they use that in the movie, and I just don't know.
I haven't seen Frozen.
I don't know.
I'm one of those laggers.
The guys are like, okay, are we done with this
Are
topic?
we over this?
No, but I love it, and I still have some interesting facts for you guys about Disney, so I got to tell you more.
Hercules
the hero, of course, with another sunset, gorgeous picture of the monument, and then a quotation to go with it. Alice in Wonderland, another monument. I mean, you cannot find. There is endless amounts of Washington Monument pictures, but they're stunning.
But they're new every time.
Sunsets.
Absolutely.
Obviously, she's calling after Mr. Rabbit. He does a really great job of integrating.
Oh yeah.
The artistic, cutout really into the graphic.
Oh yeah.
And then this was our picture that we had taken earlier. This was our post this morning that you made, and to think it all started, and we can talk back on how it's all started, because I think the history is really interesting. So we'll bring it back to the split screen here and talk about this a little bit. So guys, I did, not that I didn't already follow this, but I found some interesting facts today, and it's amazing. So Walt Disney actually died at 65, so not even a really long life.
Absolutely.
If you guys might even know these facts, right? He was in Los Angeles for a long time. He died in LA of cardiac arrest related to a lung cancer surgery.
Oh.
And this is back then, right? So born in 01,
I didn't know that. Okay.
died, I think, in 66. But he holds the record for the most Academy Awards ever won by a single person. And you forget, when you think back to that, when you get into movie mode, when we have Kevin on again, we talk about who's getting the nominations and what we can expect for February or March or whenever the Oscars come up. You forget, and he does get the praise, and we've seen montages and stuff like that, but you forget, he has the record, 32.
He has the record. That is a ton. I mean, in itself already, it's like a big deal, but 32?
And it doesn't end there, guys.
Wow.
So to go on top of all of this, from dropping out of high school to receiving 32 Academy Awards, his life wasn't an ordinary one. He had an interesting life and career. So dropped out of high school to enlist in the Army, but he was actually 16, so he was underage. So he was caught trying to do that while he was underage, and he ended up having to volunteer with the Red Cross instead. So that didn't all work out in his plan, but things go on. In 1920, so he's 19 years old, he started his first animation studio in Kansas City, Missouri. So he's from Missouri, by the way. Side note, a small town that still has, I think, a memorial for him and sort of they sort of have the accolades for him being from there. Yeah, I was talking to Tim, who's our senior rep producer, who's from St. Louis, but this small town is much more north and closer to Kansas City, Missouri, so it's not really in that world of that side of Missouri. But a Missouri boy, moved to LA, but like I said, started his first animation studio, produced animations and cartoons based on fairy tales, and then that studio filed for bankruptcy, so it wasn't like it was working out. But it wasn't a total failure, because legend has it that studio was the home to a little creature that went on, a tame, little tiny resident, a mouse, that went on purportedly to create or inspire him to create Mickey Mouse, of course. So there's a lot of legend involved, and there's a lot of allegedly this happened, but I thought this was really interesting story. Again, so he goes on to win these Oscars. So there's other cool things too. Allegedly, so he and his brother bought his parents' house. The story is that their mother actually ended up dying of carbon monoxide poisoning. From that house, which was, and it still is, a very big danger, but was more of a common thing. I think that was sort of undetected, and people were put in danger from that.
Absolutely.
And so the furnace had these noxious fumes, and she ended up dying, but their father survived. So his tragic death went on to haunt him for the rest of his life, apparently. And some will say, although I was reading that this is actually not the case, but perhaps was that the inspiration for some of his motherless films, like Bambi, like Cinderella, like stories. But
that makes sense.
But he was a creator, and he was a storyteller to children as well. And I think showing that story of the lack of having a mother figure is something that could relate to children that were maybe going through something, and showing compassion and family sort of issues, right? So I think there's a lot of things that could have been behind that. But he produced the first Technicolor cartoon ever in 1932, and then things just rose and rose, and the story goes that he would take his daughters to Griffith Park in Los Angeles, so that famous park that was featured in La La Land.
Oh, yes.
So gorgeous. I've been there, and I have not seen this bench, but maybe I passed it. I kind of wish now it had been more in my purview to check out. But this park bench is on display now at the Walt Disney Family Museum in Missouri, but the legend... Oh, so it's not actually there, but there's a space for it where he would watch his daughters play on this merry-go-round. And the story is that was his idea for Disneyland, to have this fun sort of place where kids and young children can go. Right, so inspo for Disney.
That's beautiful.
So Disney would be 116 today. Did you know that, Fitz?
Walt Disney?
Yes.
Walt Disney died the year I was born.
Oh my goodness! So another connection inside the newsroom.
Look at this. Look at that.
1966.
We usually get Fitz talking politics, but now we're talking
Disney
magical
now.
Creator.
Dead animation giant.
For this amazing political reporter.
I love it. Bye, Fitz. And isn't that interesting? So he did die in 66.
Also Winston Churchill.
Oh,
he died that year too? Oh.
I love bringing up the famous names and their birthdays and dates, because it's another story to kind of tell and to remember.
Absolutely.
So like you said, he did die from the lung cancer surgery complication in 1966.
He's on ice.
And there he goes, off to his story. But anyways, so eventually, Disneyland happens. Eventually, he purchases 27,000 acres in Florida to later become Disney World. Now, interestingly, he had to change or create rather a fake name to disguise this purchase because people knew the name now, and it was known. Oh, Walt Disney's going to come to Florida if they see his name. So, long story short, he goes through all the dealings with a fake name, and keeps it discreet. And then there's a famous Orlando Sentinel headline on the newspaper that says, "We say it's Disney," and they end up finding out that the project will soon be Walt Disney World.
Wow.
So just a few little facts that I picked up that were interesting about Walt.
I never do.
Isn't it cool?
That is cool.
And it's just fun to celebrate such a cool hero in the creative world, really.
Absolutely.
Right?
He's my hero. I consider him one. So beautiful.
So just, I thought those were interesting. Hi. And yeah, what else do we have going on, guys? I mean,
Oh my gosh, since we were talking about California, can we talk about what's going on with IKEA?
Oh, we do have to talk about that. Let me quickly get a couple comments first. You're right, we do.
Let's do
got
it.
Another awesome story for you guys.
Yeah.
So, okay, I missed a lot of these. Yeah, we didn't see a Snow White one. Sorry, I do love that one. And Fantasia, The Magician's Apprentice.
Fantasia.
Perfect,
he does have Snow White stuff, though, on his Instagram.
Yes.
If you guys
Please
filter through, check it
out.
You'll see Fantasia, you'll see Snow White, and perhaps a bunch of other characters that we, weren't able to preview right now. But check his work out. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It'll just take you back down memory lane on how magical,
I know.
these movies
were.
were.
Comments, guys. I love remembering Fantasia because I have a lot of memories from that. And being a lover of music and stuff like that, that being a musical-based
so beautiful
movie, and just it brings you right back to where you were when you first watched these. And then what else do we saying? Thumper. Schultz's personal favorite is Dumbo. That's the best.
Dumbo.
I've never seen anything till I've seen an elephant fly. Dumbo is a classic.
Oh my gosh,
it brings back a little bit of bittersweet memories because it's sad, kind of.
It is. I remember that. Dumbo would make me cry.
I know.
Poor baby.
It's tough, right?
Never joined the circus.
Where's the line? Because your family, you want to integrate your children or your loved ones.
Yeah.
Maybe you have nieces and nephews, whatever, into these movies. But, I will say, I was definitely emotionally, sort of, I guess, saddened or brought down by some of these as a kid. But really, they're there to have a story and then to have a triumphant ending to sort of bring you out of possibly a bad experience or a depression or something that a child might be going through. But there were some sad moments that stick with you, and you remember them as bittersweet or sad Disney movies. But I guess that's a whole other topic, right? Analysis of Disney films.
And you know who does a good job at doing that? Pixar. You guys, y'all love making people cry, don't you?
Kevin McCarthy is always talking about his Pixar films and what are his favorites.
Oh
and
gosh.
We even mentioned these a couple, I guess,
Toy Story 3.
He was here talking about Toy Story 3, talking about they're coming out with a new one.
Yes.
Talking about some of the new Coco was the newest.
Coco was so sweet. So I got to catch it in theaters the week that it came out, and it was beautiful. It was definitely the highlight on that was the importance of family and how you're very much loved, even when you think you're not, because you think you're being punished for something. That's really not the case. It's just you being watched out for, and at times it may seem overly much, but it's really not so. Essentially, summing it up. Yeah, that's what it is. It's so beautiful.
They really do a good job of talking about the heartstrings for sure. And it becomes family oriented. Pete saying, I don't think Pixar has made really good movies since Toy Story 2. Yeah, I mean, interestingly, Kevin will always mention Toy Story 1 and 3. He'll never say 2 is one of his tops, I believe. Although, don't quote me on that, but I think that's what he said. But I know they're coming out with another one. I personally thought 3 was an interesting take and kind of twist, obviously, as Andy's growing up.
Yeah,
and sort of getting
I cried 3 times.
Yeah, at the end, it sort of shows that little transition from, definitely as a coming of age, right? It shows the transition from childhood to a whole other thing to analyze that. But Pete, appreciate your comment on that. Interesting. Lots
2
of
was cool
lots
too.
of great quotes out of that. 2 was great.
Yeah.
They're interesting. Pixar does such a cool job with their stuff. Okay, so with that, we didn't see an Aladdin. I'm just seeing the comment. Didn't see an Aladdin one, but like I said, the stream.
Yeah, they're all in there.
A ton. Aladdin's one of my favorites too.
Oh gosh, me too.
I
Jasmine.
will say,
yeah,
that is one of my tops.
Speaking of Jasmine, are you guys excited for the Aladdin movie coming out?
They're making the real person version.
The real person version. So Will Smith is our genie.
Whoa, I love it.
That one's gonna be good.
They've done with other films.
Absolutely.
Cinderella and stuff in the 90s. And whatnot, but that's coming out, and then they're doing a real life Mulan. You were saying
the Mulan one, yes. I don't remember the name of the actress, but she kicks butt in these films that she has featured in.
Yeah.
So if you guys just do a quick little Google research, you'll come across the actress and the movies that she's been in. complete like Mulan. Like she kicks butt, and it's amazing. So I'm excited for that, but definitely excited for Aladdin to see how that all comes about. And I'm excited for Will Smith playing that genie role. I mean, you know, a big tribute to Robin Williams, because remember, he was the original genie.
Definitely.
So it'll be interesting to see this this remake.
All right, guys. Dumbo had a sweet, Chelsea, you're gonna make me sad today. Sweet happy ending. His buddy the mouse was awesome. I forgot Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket. I'm like, you're reminding me of all these too. Again, these beautiful movies helping children really learn life lessons, right?
Absolutely.
And come through certain periods of their life. And of course, the beautiful quotes and the songs, When You Wish Upon a Star.
Helping children and adults.
Sweet happy ending is the exact right way to put it. It's just there's something about making fun of people and the themes of sort of, I guess honestly in today's world that's the theme of like bullying and
absolutely
and that stuff that gets you, it digs you, I think, even as a child. And then of course there is a turn and happy ending, but I think I don't know, there's something about those sad ones that are tough for me.
Oh gosh, they are. But like you said, sweet endings.
Yeah, we like them. A couple more topics in social, guys, before we move into other stuff. Just to keep it interesting. All right, so we're gonna talk about this. We didn't talk about this on air today, but digital, this was kind of swept in our editorial meeting. All right, we're just going to go with it. We're going to tell you what is happening.
Yes.
There's a brand new statue sculpture outside of IKEA in Burbank, California. That's outside of LA, or a part of that county. And our LA station actually took the story first, and then we grabbed it. Check out the statue, guys.
It's pretty questionable.
It is questionable, and people are saying it is, quote, literally the headline, oddly shaped. Right, so what do you think about...
You know what I think about this? You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Guys, seriously?
Emoji.
Seriously.
That's all we're going to say.
That's all we're going to say. Drops paper.
She made me one too, but it's smaller.
Hey, why is yours small?
Mic drop.
Size doesn't matter.
Mic
Bye.
drop.
Good. Done.
So that's it. It's a questionable statue. We're not quite sure if it's modern art, if it's part to promote the store. But that has been making its way as a social talker. And
what do you think it looks like, guys?
Yeah, what can we even say?
Comment?
Really? I really got like nothing else.
Drop
so
an emoji.
Go on your comments. Yeah, so new oddly shaped IKEA statue making its rounds. You know, we got to save these things for digital because we can't talk about them on air. So
that was,
that. Also in news, this is an interesting one, guys. We talk about this company a lot because we talk about their deals, their holiday stuff, whatnot. Obviously, a new holiday cup, you know, ever since the 90s, earlier, I want to say, early to late 90s, they started, they did a holiday cup every year. Starbucks, of course, we're talking about, they dropped the wording Starbucks coffee years ago and just had the siren logo because people knew the brand.
Yeah.
Interestingly, in news with Starbucks, the news is really that by stats, they're opening a store in China every 15 hours, according to the company's China CEO. Yeah.
Wow.
People love it. There's a 30,000 square foot roastery opening in Shanghai, which is basically the second of that same concept to open. The first, of course, being its flagship in Seattle. So it's twice the size of that flagship in China. So China is taking it by storm. And we knew...
Where did they find the space?
I will say this, I had the privilege of having a really best friend who's teaching over there. I got to visit China a few years ago, and I did go to a Starbucks. We were in, I forget exactly where, downtown somewhere, Beijing.
Yeah.
It's a bustling city, obviously it's huge, and there really are Starbucks everywhere. We actually jumped into one, and it was neat to see sort of the niche coffee items that only were in the Chinese
That is so
stores.
cool. I love that.
So niche type of teas and like different sweet kind of drinks, and it's just cool to see the iterations of their drinks in various markets. But
that is cool.
Starbucks already operates more than 3,000 stores in China. Specifically, it plans to increase that number to 5,000 by 2021.
That is insane.
Isn't that fascinating?
That is insane. I want to know where do they find the space? The space is already, I feel like, an issue.
It's tight there, especially.
It's super tight.
Granted, it's such a big, I mean, they somehow, I don't know.
They find a way. They clearly do.
I haven't heard much about, have you heard much about Starbucks, like anything with the holiday cups this year? No, like controversies or boycotting?
No, I haven't really heard about anything per se. I actually, yes. So if you flash back to the picture, and it's like literally right there, so we can like quickly point it out if you can. If not,
yeah, I'll find it.
Okay. So the controversy behind this was the hand holding. So in the upper left corner, yeah, when we flash back the picture, the whole thing behind that was, it just looked like was a questionable love hand holding. So there we go. Yeah, and we'll highlight right on it, right there.
You kind of see it. So it's at the bottom.
So the the
top
top left. Yes.
What were they questioning then?
So it's basically people had an issue with it because it looks like it's two guys holding hands, but I don't see that myself. It looks like just two hands. Maybe further analyzing it, for some people it does, but it's the only little backlash that I did hear about the cups, because I feel like there's always something that people point out every year.
This is streamable once again. Edge Live Channel 1.
We'll take it in a second, but that's interesting. And you gotta, I mean, what do you guys think about that? It's sort of like, is there always something that's gonna be controversial, or do you take the other side and say, you know what, this actually could be offensive to some. I think they should have shied away from it. I mean, it's interesting. In previous years, I think it was a little more blatant that the controversy existed.
Absolutely.
It was a little more like, okay, you know, we need to be prudent about sort of what we show on these cups. But I think, A, Starbucks has learned over the years, and B,
I would think so.
Right, with the Christmas and I guess it was holiday versus Christmas and
yes, that's what
like
it was.
And so now, you said the love, or was it?
Oh, with this one, it just looks like it's two guys holding hands, which is what some people were looking at and saying, hey, this is pretty questionable. But to me, I mean, me personally, I don't see that. It just looks like two hands.
Iran saying a new store every 15 hours. We'll just wait till that novelty wears off in China and half those stores will be closed. Yeah, I mean, I wonder. It's just, that is a lot, right? Every 15 hours? Oh my gosh.
That is a lot.
Ooh, it's so much. War on Christmas continues, says Pete. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's as blatant this year if there is a controversy, but you know, you wonder if some stories will come out that are
that may call them out for something that are overlooked.
Yeah. Gosh, Starbucks is such a grandiose big company. It's like they have a lot of pull on stuff. They have a lot of money, and they have
absolutely.
They're growing.
They're well known.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Pete saying, I think people look for controversy because they don't like Starbucks. Okay. I don't like it either. I think it's funny. Yeah. But there's also that. Are people sort of just calling out businesses that they personally
don't like just because?
Sort of a thing against or a grudge against or something.
I could see that.
Yeah. So anyway, not to talk about Starbucks too much.
Right.
But we're in the Christmas spirit. We're excited.
Yeah.
Happy December 5th, guys, already into the week, and it is Tuesday. Goodness.
I know.
I guess it takes me a second to realize what day it is.
Takes me a little bit to process that, too. Like, is it Wednesday? What day is it?
First full week of December. We have a great event that we're going to be covering tomorrow, Christmassy and all. And I guess we'll go over, because I don't want to miss this video. So I have some video of President Trump coming in right now from inside the White House, and we're going to jump over there. I'm not sure what it is exactly. He's speaking. So we're going to jump over and do a little politics. I know we've been talking other things today, but thank you so much for joining in with us in the chat room, because we'd like to see your comments and to use them and kind of filter, or use them to kind of bounce off each other.
Yeah, we like talking with you guys too.
And chatting with you.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, Chelsea, you have lived in the Northwest. That's right. So you're kind of near the home of Starbucks, or at least nearby. Can't stand Starbucks places and their staff. So yeah, I mean, that's interesting too, right? You're going to have a different opinion possibly coming from the Pacific Northwest.
Absolutely.
That may be a small town where you don't see it as much.
Pretty variable.
Iran saying used to be a fan, but like all corporations, the quality degraded in a big way. Yeah. Good comments, guys. Thank you so much for contributing to that.
Absolutely.
And all right,
flashing over to Trump.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Thanks for the conversation, guys. As we go into some more video and more relevant live news of the day, so we'll go to this tape of Trump. This just happened moments ago inside his meeting room or office. I don't think it's the Oval Office, but nonetheless, without further ado, President Trump.
So I think a lot of very good things are going to happen. It's going to happen very fast. I want to thank you all for being here, and let's have a great lunch, and let's talk about trade, and let's make great trade deals instead of the horrible trade deals that we all got stuck with. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Mr. President, has Mueller crossed a red line with Deutsche Bank? Has Mueller crossed a red line? Mr. President, has Mueller crossed a red line?
Thank you. Thank you. I think he's going to do very well. We don't want to have a liberal Democrat in Alabama, believe me. We want strong borders. We want stopping crime. We want to have the things that we represent, and we certainly don't want to have a liberal Democrat that's controlled by Nancy Pelosi and controlled by Chuck Schumer. We don't want to have that for Alabama. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate everybody coming in. We had some very late nights getting the tax cut bill to conference, and last night was very smooth, and I think we're going to make it so that it comes out very beautifully. I call it the mixer. It's a conference where everyone gets together and they pick all the good things and get rid of the things they don't like. But it's a fantastic bill for the middle class. It's a fantastic bill for jobs and for companies wanting to bring back massive amounts of money into our country. It's really, I view it more than anything else, as it's a tremendous bill for jobs and for the middle class. And I think people see that, and they're seeing it more and more. And the more they learn about it, the more popular it becomes. And I think the end result will be even better. We had a choice. We could have gone directly for a vote, and we decided that let's put it into the conference and let's come out with something where everything is perfecto. And that's what we're going to do. This group of wonderful Republican senators is here to discuss the tax bill. Very importantly, we're also going to be talking about trade and NAFTA, what's going on with the NAFTA negotiations. We have tremendous losses with Mexico and losses with Canada, and covered by NAFTA. We last year we lost approximately $71 billion in trade deficit. We had a trade deficit with Mexico of $71 billion. With Canada, it was about $17 billion. We have trade deficits with everybody, virtually every country in the world we have trade deficits with, and that's going to be changing. It's already changing, but it's going to be changing fast. We went to China, we brought back over $300 billion worth of contracts from Asia. It was a very successful trip, but now we're going to look at NAFTA very seriously. We have Bob Lighthearted here, we have Gary Cohn, and we're already starting the negotiation. Not easy to have an election coming up, so we'll see how that plays, but it's going to be very successful. So we're going to be talking about trade, we'll be talking about healthcare, we'll be talking about other subjects. The taxes we're so thrilled about, so popular, and I think something is going to be coming out of conference pretty quickly as opposed to long term. I think it's going to go pretty quickly. We're all on the same page. It's a great spirit in the Republican Party like I've never seen before, like a lot of people have said they've never seen before. They've never seen anything like this, the unity. So I think a lot of very good things are going to happen. It's going to happen very fast. I want to thank you all for being here, and let's have a great lunch, and let's talk about trade, and let's make great trade deals instead of the horrible trade deals that we all got stuck with. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Mr. President, has Mueller crossed a red line with Deutsche Bank? Has Mueller crossed a red line? Mr. President, has Mueller crossed a red line?
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
We don't want to have a liberal Democrat in Alabama. We want strong borders. We want stopping crime. We want to have the things that we represent, and we certainly don't want to have a liberal Democrat that's controlled by Nancy Pelosi and controlled by Chuck Schumer. We don't want to have that for Alabama. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So it's obvious, guys, that was pool spray as we repeated sort of that video from inside this luncheon with President Trump talking about tax reform. And to go back to some of your comments, I think we're about to lose this stream, but that's really interesting. As someone who mentioned they knew the person who made the Starbucks logo, Schultz 100. That's interesting that you have a connection to that. I think I think it's interesting to have, like I said, to be somehow linked to the person who created that siren. I also think it's fascinating when a symbol can stand on its own and people know it as what it is. So pretty cool stuff with Starbucks. But changing gears to politics, a little bit of Trump and tax reform. In case you guys are interested in the tax reform that passed and more chat about that, we heard earlier this morning from the House Republicans, Paul Ryan and others spoke about this just moments ago. So we're going to play out some of that video for you. Check this out.
Good morning. The American people sent us here to do the big things. And as the tax cuts and jobs bill moves to the conference committee, I'm really excited about what it means for everybody in this country. More opportunities. And I'm especially proud that it builds on the legacy of the ABLE Act for families who have saved for their son or daughter's college tuition, which is no longer needed. It gives that family an opportunity to roll over their 529 account into an ABLE account, which means that child could use that money for medical or for education or skills training. I'm also excited about Able to Work, which allows an individual that has a 529 account to go explore the opportunity to work and then take that income and put it into their ABLE account and without jeopardizing their benefits. With this bill, we are making it easier for everyone to reach their full potential. And that's part of the reason I've invited Representative Kristi Noem to join us this morning. She's been a champion for this bill and what it means for families in South Dakota as well as all across the country. We are getting closer to sending this pro-growth, pro-family tax reform plan to the president's desk. This week, the House Administration Committee is also continuing its extensive review of the congressional workplace. And they will be having a hearing on Thursday to examine what changes need to be made to the Congressional Accountability Act to prevent sexual harassment. This law has not been updated since 1995. It's long overdue, which is why the House administration's work is so important. As I said last week, these recent reports are so deeply troubling. Members of Congress, we must walk the talk, lead by example, and we are taking action to renew the people's trust in the representatives that serve here in Congress.
Well, I want to thank Kathy for all of her work on the ABLE Act. Allowing families to take 529 plans and roll them over to be used to help those with disabilities is critically important. I've been a member of the Ways and Means Committee now for several years, and also being a conferee now, I'm excited to be a voice in the room, not just for my home state of South Dakota, but for working moms, for working families, for farmers and ranchers, for small business owners. And the reason that I can speak on that behalf is because I've been all of those. And I think it's important that people know we have everyday people in the room who know how they have felt at different times in their lives, making decisions on policies that actually work for them and for their families. You know, almost half of Americans have the money in the bank to cover a $400 emergency expense. That's astounding to me. And in my home state of South Dakota, the average family income is just a little bit over $50,000 per year. And that's not much at all. Our goal is to allow more families to keep their money in their pocket. You will hear my colleagues from the other side of the aisle talk about the fact that the government needs this money more than the families do that work hard every day to earn it, to take care of their families, and I fundamentally disagree with that. When we get into this conference committee, we're going to be talking about making strong families, strong futures, and giving the next generation a tax code that actually helps them and doesn't continue to harm them like the one that we have today.
Well, thank you, Kristi, for your voice and what you're going to bring to that conference committee. I want to thank my colleagues last night for coming together and sending this tax cut and jobs bill to conference committee so we can be now one final step away from getting historic tax relief, where families at Christmas time are going to finally see that this Congress went to work for them, put together a bill that cuts taxes across the board, hardworking people who have not seen job growth for the last 10 years. Many who haven't seen their paychecks increase over the last 10 years are finally going to get real relief. They're going to see more money in their pockets from lower tax rates. On average, families are going to see $1,200 more in their pockets. And what does that really mean? When the average family right now has $400 in their checking account, across the country, that's the average, $400 in a checking account. When you're going to be able to get $1,200 more a year back, that's a big deal to hardworking families who've been struggling. That's maybe a family vacation that they haven't been able to take for years, an opportunity for them to expand on their house, to put more money away for their kids' college. This is going to be real relief for families. And then when you look at what happens on the corporate side, where our country right now has the highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world, people know what that means. That means every time we see a large company, a well-known company, move thousands of jobs overseas, it angers us, and it should anger us. But I think what angers people the most is that they haven't seen anything done about it. In our bill, we actually do something about it. We bring those jobs back to America. How about that for a great Christmas present? For families who lost jobs, good jobs. I'm talking about $50, $70, $80, $120,000 a year jobs that we've seen go to other countries. Now, these are countries we like, friends of ours, Ireland, Canada, other countries that have been happy to take our jobs. We're still going to have good relationships with those countries, but we're going to take our jobs back and rebuild our middle class. That's what this bill means. It's about time we get it done. I'm really glad that we took one more step last night, but now we're at the final step. We're not only in the red zone, we're at the 1 yard line. We're going to get this done before Christmas, and President Trump is ready to sign this bill that will create jobs and make America competitive again.
Good morning, but before I speak, I first want to tell those in Southern California that are battling another fire. This is a devastating fire in Ventura that it's just blocks away from the City Hall. We've already had one fatality. Not just our thoughts and prayers are with you, but any equipment or resources from the federal government, we will make sure it's provided to work and create the synergy with those in the state and in the city. And to the first responders, we know what you've been called upon this year, from the hurricanes to the fires, and we thank you for continuing to be there and be there in the time of need right now. I do want to thank Kathy McMorris-Rogers for her work on the ABLE Act. It took a great deal to get that to fruition. To Kristi Noem, not just being a member of Congress, not just being a conferee, but living through the experience of the difficulty in the tax code, what can it do to a family in a punishment zone, but also see what it can do to be able to grow an economy. I'm proud that she's actually a conferee to actually finish this job. To the American public, every time we get one step closer, the market goes up even higher. We're already beginning to see the benefits of really where America wants to go when it comes to the tax bill. For anyone that has a retirement account invested in a 401k, you've already seen a benefit continuing to rise, with more than 58 times the market has set a new record. To the members, when we called back a day early to make sure we can get to conference, to get this done before Christmas, I thank you. But most importantly, for those across this country, that at the end of the day, beginning in a new year, when they check their check and they see the income is even higher, or for the new jobs that are going to be created. This is why we continued to run for office. This is why we said we would accomplish that goal. I know we're close, but we have to finish the job. So in a short time frame, you will find the conferees will work together. I know the Senate and House will find common ground. At the end of the day, we'll get this bill through, not for Congress, but for the American people, that we continue to create more jobs, have a tax cut, and see that the next generation gets the benefit of the generations in the past, that they can continue to improve.
I want to give credit to the Senate Republicans for passing their version of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act last week. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Doing something as monumental as tax reform, it is not easy. The forces of the status quo are clearly stacked against us. But guess what? We're doing it. The House has acted. The Senate has acted. Congress is getting rid of these loopholes that have too long benefited special interests at the expense of normal American working families. Whether you live in New York, California, or South Dakota, we're giving tax cuts to folks and families at every income level. We're making sure that hardworking Americans get to keep more of their own hard-earned dollars. That's not all. We're cutting, as Steve-O said, we're cutting the business tax rate so that American job creators can be competitive again. That means more jobs and higher wages for real Americans. You all know the story all too well. This tax code is pushing American businesses and American jobs overseas. It's time we stop doing that. This is monumental reform, and we're doing it the right way. We started with a framework. Then we went to a House bill, through the committee. Then we went to the floor, and now we're going to a conference committee, using the regular order process, working with our members, getting interaction at every step of the process. That is how we should be writing laws here. Last night, we passed the motion to go to conference to reconcile these two good bills. The conferees, led by our faithful leader, Chairman Kevin Brady, have a lot of work to do, but they're going to get this done. They're going to make this legislation the best it can be. They're going to make it better than what we've already seen. The American people deserve that. The American people deserve a simpler, fair tax code, and it's high time we get out of the stagnant growth we've had since the Great Recession. This does that. This means the best Christmas gift we can give our constituents, the best holiday season greetings we can give our constituents, is a faster growing economy that gives more wages, bigger paychecks, and a simpler and fair tax system. That's why we're so focused on getting this done. That's why we're so excited to be here working on solving people's problems. Questions? Well, of course, I think that's the best way we can go, but we're going to have continued discussions with our members here in the House and across the aisle about the best way forward. We think healthcare is deteriorating. We think premiums are going up through the roof. Insurers are pulling out, and that's not a status quo that we can live with. Wong. Yeah, I feel like we're going to have a majority. We're going to have 218 for passing the CR we had this week. We're having a good conversation with our members about exactly how to do this. We're having a good conversation with our members about timing and date and tactics and all the rest. The point is we're having the kind of family discussion that we need to have about how to proceed forward with a majority, and I'm confident we'll have that. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to get into the conferee stuff. You think I'm going to go into the back and forth of this stuff? I'm not going to. We'll let the conferees wrestle with this. I'm not going to go into the, nitpicking the conferees. So, okay, second to last question, or last question. Andy, sorry. You can ask me a conference. Can we weigh in on a conference question? We're having a conversation with the members on what we think the best date forward is to go. You'll see when we bring the bill to the floor. Thank you.
All right. So again, guys, that was the GOP and Paul Ryan, of course, from this morning, talking about the victory, the success in the House and Senate now with tax reform. And so just keeping you in the loop of that, I'm just actually getting over our box word that we possibly will have some video, hopefully, if I can figure out where to get it from, of Doug Jones, the Senate candidate in Alabama. We showed you him speaking to a crowd yesterday. He is, of course, the Democrat who is up for that Senate seat, that special election that is only 7 days away now, with a contender, Roy Moore, of course, who's been in the news, in the headlines for sexual assault allegations from his past. So this is a really interesting one that we've been following. So Doug Jones, the Democratic contender down there for that special seat that was vacated by now Attorney General Jeff Sessions. So if we do get that video in, I'm going to bring that to you guys live. I'm trying to figure out how I can get that in. And instead, until I get that, we're going to go over to, I believe, a press conference is coming up shortly in Ventura County, California, where I was mentioning the wildfires, that we have some aerial views of. Check this out, live coming in of these fires, and I think someone's about to speak on it, so we're going to leave you with a split shot here of both. And I can get this up, and then hopefully we hear from them. You could see our, there it is. Our Fox 11 there, our sister station in LA, is mic'd up there, so they're getting ready to bring that in. So we're going to leave it here for just a second. But as always, thank you so much for joining me on the stream, guys. Hopefully we can get in some more of that relevant political stuff. And then I'll show you some other cool videos and we'll keep it rolling. All right, let's see what we got here.
Everybody ready? 30 seconds.
How you doing? Good. Good to see you. And you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here this morning. We're going to go and get started off here at the Hanson Dam Incident Command Post. We're going to start with Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Thank you and good morning. As you all know, this morning at about 0400, the creek fire broke out at off of the Little Tahunga Canyon here. This is a fire that has now spread. An estimate right now is over 4,000 acres. We have zero containment at this point. We have a unified command structure that is here right now, and I want to acknowledge the men and women who, at a very difficult time right now when we have multiple fires breaking out, are doing their very best to prevent the loss of any life and property. We have unified command with over 700 personnel right now, 250 of those from Los Angeles Fire Department, but includes the county, Cal Fire, the U.S. Forestry Service, of course our Department of Transportation, LAPD, and the Sheriff's Department helping with evacuations. I want to get to the evacuations first because that is the most important. And my message, very strong and clear to the residents of Los Angeles, is to be ready to go. We say ready, set, go. Right now, make sure that you have those critical documents, the critical stuff that you need. Have it ready, put it in your car, and when you hear go, go. So who should be going right now? It's everybody north of Foothill right now in a territory that stretches from on the western boundary, Glen Oaks, all the way to the La Crescenta border. We are now evacuating all of that. The 210 freeway is closed down. Foothill Boulevard is the best way, and Department of Transportation will be there to assist people in getting out of the way of the fire. We expect this weather for the next 5 days, though today may be the most intense of days. So embers could kick into residential areas. We have a lot of forward deployment to help avoid that, and this fire could sweep up over the hills. So residents as far west as Porter Ranch should be ready. We don't expect today that sort of spread of the fire, but everybody on the northern edge of the San Fernando Valley, be prepared because this could be a fast-moving fire, or we could see embers that are burning into residential areas. We have a lot of large animals that are being evacuated, horses and others. Those are going to Pierce College and the Los Angeles Equestrian Center, and we have evacuation centers that are set up at Silmar Rec Center and at Sunland Senior Center as well. There's also 4, as I mentioned, both small and large animal evacuation centers. You can find a complete list of the evacuation areas if you go to lafd.org. And if people are still in areas and you need, and you know somebody who needs someplace to go, please know you'll be welcomed at those evacuation centers with open arms. And you'll hear more about folks that want to give donations to help out any of the victims of this fire as well. Thank you again to our firefighters who continue to do amazing work. We know that folks who are battling the Thomas Fire with over 31,000 acres burned, 27,000 people who've been forced to evacuate, and we do have a strike team from LAFD on site there. It's a very difficult moment, but we will get through this. We proved this just over a month ago. We are a resilient city, we are a strong city, we are a capable city. And I want to thank the Unified Command and turn it over to the first of 2 fire chiefs, Chief Osby from LA County Fire, to update. When everybody's done, I'll also say words in Spanish for our Spanish media as well. Chief Osby.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Darrell Osby, Fire Chief of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. And just want to reiterate some of the things that the Mayor just said. Also, in addition to that, I spent the night, in addition with my counterpart from LA City, assisting the firefighters, the firefight in Ventura County. And from our department, we have 4 strike teams there and a dozer team assisting Ventura. So we spent the night assisting the fire in Ventura. We got the call from LA County Fire this morning at 3:42 this morning in Little Tahunga. We immediately dispatched a first alarm assignment. Upon arrival, we immediately got assistance from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to provide immediate evacuation for the citizens at risk. I just want to re-emphasize right now, we are facing critical fire behavior in ways that people may not have experienced in the past. This is the 5th year of an ongoing drought. I know that we had some rain this year, but just enough grass crop to have flashy fuels. We have erratic wind behavior. From our department alone right now, on this incident of the Creek Fire, we have over 60 fire engines, over 400 personnel, helicopters flying to assist. To reemphasize what the mayor just said, to our citizens, it is extremely critical that when you're asked to evacuate, evacuate early. We've had experience in other fires throughout this region that when we've had fatalities, it's because people did not heed the early warning evacuations. As mentioned earlier, we're up to 4,000 acres. We're in unified command. As we were preparing for this press conference, we had a second start in Los Angeles County Fire Department's jurisdiction. It is the Rye Canyon, which is in Santa Clarita. We got the call at 9:32. Currently, it's a second.
Guys, let's switch it up for a second because I just got this video in from Doug Jones, like I said, the Democratic candidate for that special Senate seat down in Alabama. And there's 7 days till the special election, so it's coming up fast. This was a really good recap as to what's going on in California. And check out that shot. It's really amazing seeing these planes go over these areas. It's not like we don't see this footage a lot. We often bring you this video, unfortunately, of these types of wildfires going on in California. And glad to see that a lot of you guys, my viewers, are safe. I know one of you is in the Pacific Northwest and then Nevada. Pete, I can't remember where you're watching from, but definitely a scary part of being in or from LA County that you have to kind of deal with this and have an evacuation plan, as they mentioned. Let's go over to Doug Jones, totally switch it up. He is speaking to a crowd. Let's get that on.
You know, right now Congress seems so gridlocked that they just haven't been able to find a solution, even to funding the child's health care program. You know, the CHIP funding helps more than 150,000 Alabama kids, helps them have access to health care that they couldn't otherwise afford. Today, these programs are in jeopardy, and I'll fight for their funding because providing health care is not just an investment in the future of those children, it's an investment in our future. Of course, along with health care, we have to focus on improving education and access to education for all Alabamans, regardless of the zip code they live in. I want to make sure we save public education in this state. Thank you. You know, right now, Alabama is in competition for a $1.6 billion Toyota Mazda manufacturing plant, which would bring 4,000 jobs to this state. When Toyota is trying to decide whether to expand their operation here, they're going to want to know what our state is doing to build a workforce that can operate their facilities. But a serious question that you have to ask yourself is this: does the idea of Senator Roy Moore make it more or less likely that Toyota or anyone else would see Alabama's image in such a negative way that they would cross Alabama off their list and move on to another state? Now, folks, look, I fully understand that for many, many people in this state, that the answer to that question, to that very serious question, may be very hard to accept. But if we are honest with ourselves, if we dig deep and look at ourselves and are honest with ourselves, we all know the answer. Roy Moore in the United States Senate would be a disaster for business in Alabama. Thank you. Roy Moore has spent his entire life using whatever position he was in to create conflict and division in order to promote his personal agenda. He was kicked off the bench twice for violating his solemn oath of office by completely disregarding the rule of law that he was sworn to uphold. And in the process, he has demeaned so many of the citizens of this state. He created his nonprofit only to personally enrich himself and his family. And to add insult to injury, this nonprofit was a so-called religious charity that was supposed to be promoting Christian values, not Roy Moore. But despite what you hear in his TV ads, folks, Roy Moore has never, ever served our state with honor. He has never, ever been a source of pride for the people of this state, only a source of embarrassment. And make no mistake, he was already an embarrassment to this state before 9 courageous women chose to share their deeply personal and disturbing encounters with him from a time when he was a 30-something-year-old assistant district attorney, and they were only teenagers, one as young as 14. Folks, by any objective standard or review that examines the extensive corroboration of the statements of these women and, significantly, the inconsistencies of Roy Moore's denials, it is crystal clear that these women are telling the truth and Roy Moore is not. People in this state need to remember that his denials now are not unlike the testimony he gave the last time he was kicked off the judicial bench, when the court of the judiciary unanimously found that his self-serving testimony was not credible and was in fact misleading. As I have said before, I believe these women, and so should you. At the end of the day, though, this is about rising above political party to do what's right for Alabama and for the country. We and we alone have to decide the message that we will send, not just to the country, but to our children. We need to look at this as parents, not voters. Will we tell our daughters that if you're abused and if you speak out, you will be believed and Alabama will stand with you regardless of when you come forward? Or will we tell our young sons that this behavior, this disturbing behavior, is okay? If you're powerful enough or important enough, Alabama will simply look the other way. We didn't look the other way with Robert Bentley when his conduct involved consenting adults, and we cannot do it now when it involves children, no matter how long ago it might have occurred. We need to look at this as parents, as grandparents, and not through the jaded lens of politics. This is about decency and not a political party. And anyone who thinks otherwise should be ashamed. It is the people of Alabama, the parents of Alabama, who will hold Roy Moore accountable. This is about Alabama's honor and doing what is right. Nothing more and certainly nothing less. I believe the contrast between myself and my opponent could not be clearer. I've never been fired from a job I've held. I've never lived off of donations to a so-called charitable foundation. I have always served honorably and have personally earned every dime my family has. Significantly, contrast is this as well. I don't demean my fellow citizens, but treat everyone with dignity and respect. Despite the silly name calling, my record as a prosecutor speaks for itself. I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment. When you see me with a gun, folks, I'll be climbing in and out of a deer stand or a turkey blind, not prancing around on a stage in a cowboy suit. And perhaps most significantly, and for those that have followed this campaign from the beginning and those that have followed my career, I believe women are every bit as capable as men, that they deserve to be elected to public office. I believe they deserve equal pay for equal work, and I damn sure believe that I have done my part to ensure that men who hurt little girls should go to jail and not the United States Senate. Thank you. You know, on a personal note, I've got a wife I love, elderly parents that I have to care for. I got children and grandchildren I cherish, and an abiding faith that I follow. I believe in Alabama. I believe in her people and our potential. I see both the good and the possible. I want an Alabama with a first-class education system for all our children, with for a world-class vocational training and a vibrant, innovative economy that attracts quality jobs and new industry. As we enter the final stretch of this campaign, I want to close with the same words I said when I first began last May. I'm running for the U.S. Senate because our leaders have lost sight of what it means to serve, to make a positive difference in people's lives. We need leaders with reasoned voices and who are more interested in dialogues than monologues. Leaders people can talk to and trust. Alabama has been embarrassed long enough by political leaders who have not been leaders at all. Instead of listening to and addressing the problems that affect working families every day, like better jobs, wages, health care, and education for all Alabamians, they've ignored those issues. They've played on our fears and exploited our divisions. I want to change all that. So please join me. Together we can give hope to those who have lost it, restore confidence in our democracy, start making a real progress for working families in our state. The vision that was articulated in May is still the vision of today. These goals are what this campaign has been all about. This is our moment, our challenge, but our opportunity. Together we can build a better Alabama that works for all citizens, a better Alabama that we can be proud to have built and be proud to pass it on to our children and grandchildren, and particularly our daughters and granddaughters, knowing that we have done our part to leave our state better than we found it, knowing we answered the call to move Alabama forward, and knowing that together we were on the right side of history. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Doug Jones there for Senate, Democratic candidate for that special seat in Alabama. That election is only 7 days away, guys, and I was kind of doing a little research on this, and they vary, but the polls right now, one of them, a recent one, this was just posted 21 minutes ago, reported by The Hill, has Jones, who you see here, up by 4 points with his opponent Roy Moore. But we've been seeing other ones that say the other way, and still other ones that have them very close, neck and neck. So it's going to be an interesting one to follow, of course, surrounding the allegations from Roy Moore's past with the young girls years ago. So this one is one for the books for sure. Thank you so much for your fun and interesting and engaging comments, especially on this topic, guys. We're going to take it back over because we still have this stuff coming out of California. While we have it, let's go live to the fire chief in Ventura County talking about these fires.
The personnel.
Do we have a total number of firefighters with the Unified Command over here in California? Do we have a total number?
Yes, we now have approximately 700 unified firefighters. I don't know the county numbers exactly. It's 250. LAFD county is about 400 there, and then we have, of course, state U.S. Forest Service as well. Cal Fire is out there as well. One other note, just for residents throughout the Southland as well. These winds will continue today. There are other parts of the city and, of course, LA County that are vulnerable, as we're seeing up in Santa Clarita. It is important for folks to report what they see immediately. There's been a lot of over-reporting just because there's smoke. Everybody sees smoke. Don't report smoke. But if you see actual fires, let us know. In the city of Los Angeles, we now do have personnel in all of our fire stations, so to make sure that we have coverage throughout the city, even as we pulled firefighters up here to fight this fire and help with the strike team in Ventura County. But obviously, if they spread to a few more places in the city, it could be a very challenging day. So please report those as quickly as you can.
How odd is it to have a brush fire this large in December?
The question was, how odd is it to have a brush fire this large in December? And we keep fire history maps up to 100 years, so it's not uncommon sometimes to have fires in December, but what I can say is that with the climate change, typically by this time of the year we get rain. We like at least 4 inches of rain and some green up before we're out of fire season. And as you can see that we have had very minimal rain. As it relates to Santa Ana winds, they do typically blow all the way through April or May. So it's not untypical as it relates to Santa Ana winds, but we just haven't had the rainfall. So we've had a very warm, dry summer, and our fuels are at critical levels right now, and they're very explosive, as you can see right now with today's fire here in Los Angeles County, in the city, and in Ventura County.
No, we'll try to get that information for you, not right now.
Sorry, Chief, spelling real quick?
My last name is Osby, O-S-B-Y, LA County Fire.
Any other questions? Okay.
Kind of unrelated, but with the wind and the trees and the power lines, should we have the news conference here next time? Maybe like a year out now, safety-wise.
Point taken. Okay. We'll see where we can scramble best.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just going to go do a quick thing over to Access, okay?
I was going to say, it's just the radio reporters. They don't
Guys, we'll probably do another one. I'm thinking maybe around noon, unless something drastic changes before then. Probably noon. I'll confirm that in the next 15 minutes or so, noon or 1. Thank you.
Can I get a flyer?
All right, can you hear me? Hello? Yeah. All right, I'm on X4, but I've got no... Okay.
Hey, Chief, can you,
We know anything more? No, I'm going to get it for you for this trip.
Yeah, guys, so these fires are apparently obviously pretty destructive. It's already torn through about 10,000 acres there in Ventura County. Of course, you were hearing the officials give the warning to people in LA County as well to say, hey, have an evacuation plan, be ready to do something if that's the case. And it's interesting, you think about that. Whenever I'm visiting LA or just over there or have friends there, you don't think that they, in mind, should have an evacuation plan just when this phenomenon really happens, because it does happen more often than we actually see, I think. But we're lucky to be getting this footage in and track these fires that are going on in California. So pretty scary stuff there. Apparently more than 150 structures have been damaged. Hundreds have been forced to evacuate their homes, and still others are being asked to, hey, find a way that you can get out of this. So it sounds like more updates in a few hours for them. They said 12 noon their time. That's only a few hours away. We're we're gonna switch it up, guys, and bring you to another totally different story. Let's go over to more of a feel-good, kind of interesting story out of California. Our sister station in Oakland, KTVU Fox 2, had this cool little package they put together about a woman who is battling stage 3 cancer. She has stage 3 colon cancer, and she's competing for the title of Miss California. So she's still doing it, and she is, yeah, she's still part of the, just reading through this article. It's cool. She's 27 years old, and she's still going through this pretty intense, obviously, treatment, but also intense competition, following her dream with this. So check out this video.
Fits right in with the other Miss California USA contestants. Her hair, her physique, her broad smile, and bright eyes. If we didn't tell you, you might not know that she's battling stage 3 colon cancer.
I wasn't able to fully work out the entire time because my doctor did not allow that.
8 months ago, Andrade got the diagnosis. She has the scars to show for the multiple surgeries she's endured.
I have the bigger one hidden right here.
And her pageant sash hides the portal for her chemotherapy.
I am knocked down for about 6 days, and I have migraines all the time. Very nauseous. I don't eat. I have to sleep sitting down because the second that I lay down, I can't really get back up.
Andrade says she's dreamed of winning a pageant since she was a little girl. With a prognosis of 6 months to 2 years to live, she knew cancer or no, this had to be her year to compete.
I try to stay positive every single day because in my mind, I'm going to get out of this. Despite the fact that the doctors gave me a lifetime timeline, I want to continue to fight. I want to continue to live. I want to continue to live and experience and achieve every single one of my dreams.
In the swimsuit competition, contestants offer up a fun fact about themselves.
I feed over 100 homeless people every Wednesday.
Difficult to hear, but easy to understand.
I am a fighter.
It's hard. It's hard for me because I want to be like the other girls. I'm sorry. I want to be able to be like the other girls, and I can. But I just have to, I do look at them and I admire them, and I'm just going to continue to do so and, you know, let that motivate me to just continue going.
Yeah, really inspiring story out of California. I can't believe that. I hadn't actually seen some of those clips, those intimate moments where she sort of breaks down about this, but really amazing, and all the luck and props to her for doing this, battling stage 3 colon cancer and still competing in Miss California. Okay, totally on the other end of the nation, let's go over to Florida. Have you guys seen this video? Check it out. A 17-foot python was captured by a python hunter, so at least he knows what he's doing in doing this. Jason Leone set a record for this contest called the Python Elimination Program when he captured a 17-foot, 1-inch Burmese python. Check out this video.
On the right side, completely submerged in the water. We're able to get out, get a hold of her. There's actually 2 snakes. There was a little male that was sitting there with her. I told him to let that male go. We're both completely in the water. Got her out, shot her right in the head while I was holding her. She's 17-1 right now, 132 pounds, and we're gonna find a 20-footer tonight. That's what's gonna happen.
So how'd you guys grab her?
I grabbed her first by the center of the body. She had her head over wrapped around by the tree, and I was able to go in the head and grab her further up on the head. When I had her further up on the head, camera took a shot on her right there, and she got popped again here on the neck later.
Cool, man. Appreciate you. Be safe out there, and God bless.
No problem. Thank you.
So that's pretty cool. Anybody into pythons? Anybody into capturing them? I know we brought you some gator video. Sometimes we have shark sightings. That's a new one, right? Python hunter Jason Leone setting the record for capturing. They gave a little rundown on how he did it, what happened. Apparently, the snake was found in the company of another small male snake when he found him. So that's that. Interesting, right? Okay, also kind of cool. Let me know, guys, would you try this? Taco Bell is rolling out. Gosh, this is such a, I don't even know, story. Would you guys try this? It's rolling out a new type of burrito. There it is. It's called the Fry Stuffed Burrito. Fry-rito. Details on this, what I got is that it's French fry stuff, peppers, cheese, stuff like that, whatever the sour cream white sauce is. And according to Food Beast, the California Mexican food chain has announced they're rolling this out. It's gonna be the loaded fry burrito with all that stuff in it. $1.99, comes as part of a $5 box as well if you want some other accoutrement along with it, like medium drink and another taco. But the catch is that, oh, I didn't read this. Right now it's only available in Charleston, West Virginia. So if you're going there, I've been there, but you can go there, and then they're saying fingers crossed for a nationwide rollout. Let me know in the comments if you would eat that. Anybody a Taco Bell fan? I know Kevin McCarthy is. He's not here. He had to roll out, but he could probably give you a little more scoop on that. All right, those are the big top stories that I got for you guys today. So for now, we're going to go back to our footage of these wildfires and see what else crops up. I've just got word that the White House press briefing is moved to 3 p.m. Eastern time. So we're not going to have that on our stream, unfortunately, but we will stream it to our Facebook. If you guys are part of that, or if you're not, please do join us. We have all the breaking news stories. We keep our web stories updated there. And if we don't roll out anything live on this stream, we make sure that we push it to our Facebook wall, our timeline there, because you can see in the moment stuff that's going on as it breaks. We try to really stay on top of that. So please do follow us if you use Facebook and that's of interest to you. But let me see what you guys are saying. Pete saying the burrito is probably gooey and soggy. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Let's get the report of the week take on burrito before you try it. Yeah. Good one, good one. Well, it's only available in Charleston anyway, so I don't think any of us are going to be getting it. But, yeah, Aaron, the Florida guy that got the python, he was apparently a python trainer or a capturer. He knows what he's doing, so leave it to those guys, right, to do that kind of dirty work. I don't know. It's a lot. All right, let me know what else is up, what is going on. Stay on with us for a little bit. We'll see what else we have coming in, and then we'll take it down for the day. But thank you guys so much for staying on, and happy Tuesday to you. Unfortunately, not so happy out in California as we have the wildfires. Still got this footage coming in. We have these choppers that are just lingering above, and it's really amazing to see. They got a camera on the ground with some of the officials, of course, and then this chopper video. Look at that. Pretty intense stuff. Looks really dry. Like you guys were mentioning, it is so dry out there. Hard to give kind of the exact specs and know more because I'm not the weather meteorologist like Mike to know more about dry air and this sort of climate and what it can do. But this deadly fire has really exploded to what I'm reading now is more than 30,000 acres and more than 27,000 people told to get an evacuation plan set. So looks like we have a couple cameras there. We'll just take you there for a second and get back to you in a bit.
We missed the chief. Plymouth smoke top.
¿Ya les dice una hora? Estoy en vivo todo el tiempo, no puedes cambiarla de ninguna manera.
Yo hasta las 4 ahí en Ventura. Está allá. Ahí lo ves, son los primeros 5 o 6 shots.
Well, this is the only thing that we have to show, so maybe VO also. Okay, cool. It's just not that exciting here, but we needed to be here for the information.
So, guys, thanks for staying on with us. We'll check in here to our sister station, Fox 11's reporter here doing a live shot outside where the officials just spoke about the wildfires and given some information. He just mentioned they don't have the best kind of scene for it, but we saw earlier those aerial pictures and they are, wow, pretty staggering. So he'll kind of summarize, I think, the information in this live shot. We'll check in a little behind the scenes to his shot and get some more from him in a few moments.
Yeah, Bob, Sandra, and we were the ones that brought it to you live. We broke the news about that third fire because we were carrying that news conference live because it's so important, the information that we're learning. And we are learning more information as we enter the 6th hour of this fire, the creek fire that has been burning out of control and continues to do so. You can see I'm getting pushed around in the wind. Let me just show you. It is difficult to see because of all the dust and the ash that's falling down like snow. Over there in the distance, they're still getting briefed. They're trying to figure out how best to battle this blaze. 0% contained. Take a look at some of this video from earlier. We're talking 4,000 acres. One firefighter has been injured. More than 2,500 homes evacuated. Evacuation orders in Little Tahunga, Cagle, and Lopez Canyons. Evacuation centers to mention are Sylmar Recreation Center and Sunland Senior Center. And 3 schools are closed right now: Hubbard, Harding, and Vaughn. Now again, as you mentioned, we just wrapped up a news conference here with some of the latest details. Take a listen. Back out here live. So this is the command post, and you just heard right there from the mayor and from others. So this is Hanson Dam. This is the command post for the Creek Fire, number 2 of 3 fires burning right now, out of control. And you can see those agencies over there, including Los Angeles Forest Service, LA County Fire, LA City Fire, and LAPD. They're ordering additional resources right now. But again, as Rick Dickard was talking about, the major problem and what we've been mentioning all morning long is the wind that you can see out here, fueling this fire out of control and making it difficult to fight, not only on the ground, but they really need to get up in the air, and a lot of those aircraft are grounded right now. Live here at this command post. I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
That's the latest there, guys, in Ventura County, and our reporter again from Fox 11 talking back to his station, so we're just getting a little inside look at what he had to say. But Iran, you were saying you're seeing on some other footage some of these houses go up in flames. Unfortunately, we only have the video that we have coming into us that we can bring to you. Hopefully that is good, compelling pictures for you as we try to give you the facts of what's going on. But unfortunately, yeah, this is the ground shot that we have right now. But that, as such, is the case sometimes when that's all we have coming in. But with that being said, guys, I really hope that you've been enjoying the stream today and all the stuff that we've covered. We're going to continue to follow, of course, this story. It's important in California, and take in whatever video we can get in throughout the week, because I believe this stuff doesn't end fast. It just kind of goes on. They work to battle it. More people will be evacuated, more businesses and homes affected, of course. And so we'll have whatever video that we can get for you guys to keep you informed, especially you guys out in the West Coast, kind of closer to where all this is happening. But we are live here in the DC Digital Studio. You can see the newsroom behind me. And we're up every day at 11 o'clock. We start with a nice little weather segment with Mike Thomas, and then we roll into some breaking news, anything live that's coming in, whether from Capitol Hill, which is this live look inside, I believe possibly the Supreme Court or somewhere in Capitol Hill, and then of course a live look at the White House, all decked out for the holiday season. We've been seeing this bump shot for days now, because we're getting into the holiday spirit as well. I hope that you guys are too. We'll have more Christmas stories and more fun stuff as well. Try to balance out the just interesting creative with the more pressing news, and of course big breaking stories or newsworthy items first and foremost. So we'll have all that for you as well this week. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, especially if it's your first time or you're just kind of jumping in and out. Be sure to flag us as your live stream for the middle of the day, and we'll be back up with more as always at 11 o'clock tomorrow. So thanks to all the regulars, and thank you guys for being engaging and for hanging out on the stream. And anything, of course, if you have any comments or anything you want to share with me, you can personally get at me as well. And then also you can get at our Fox 5 account as well, Fox 5 DC, on all platforms. So Twitter, Instagram, you can DM us, you can tweet at us, and jump into our chat here on the YouTube channel as well. So thanks so much, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow. We'll leave you with a shot of the White House per usual. And remember, White House press briefing is pushed back to 3 o'clock or so. We should have that on our Facebook wall if you want to follow us there. All right, we'll see you again tomorrow, guys. Thanks so much. See you soon.